Chapter 164. Lin Pingqiao was really irritated. In order to please Lin Xiaotian and change his image in the old man's mind, he carefully prepared 2 gifts, but he did not expect that they were all ruined by Qin Haodong. Now it seemed that even if his 2 things were intact, they could not compare with the jade chicken sent by Lin Momo. The value was more than 10 times lower. In this way, his position in the old man's mind would not change, on the contrary, it would not be as good as before. It was because of this that he decided to risk it all and shout. Lin Zhigao quickly stopped him and scolded, "Today is your grandfather's birthday. What are you shouting for? Is it fair or not?" Lin Pingqiao did not restrain himself at all, still shouting, "Unfair, this is unfair." Everyone became silent. Lin Xiaotian looked at Lin Pingqiao with a gloomy face and asked, "What do you think is unfair?" Lin Pingqiao said, "My cousin is the president of Lin's group, in charge of the whole group's resources. Of course she can choose all kinds of good things, so she can find such a high-quality yellow jade, and find such a skilled master to carve it. If I were the president of the group, I would definitely prepare a better gift for Grandpa." After listening to his words, Lin Xiaotian's face eased a little and he said, "The value of the gift is not important. I know you have the filial piety. There is no fair or not." Many people thought that Lin Pingqiao would stop when it was good, but he said again, "Grandpa, this is unfair. I am also a descendant of the Lin family, and I am the only male of the 3rd generation of the Lin family. In terms of age, I am only 1 year younger than my cousin. In terms of education, I am not inferior to her at all. In terms of ability, I am not inferior to her. Why should she be the president? Why can't I be the president of the Lin family? How dare you?" Lin Xiaotian slapped the table and said angrily, "When it is your turn to talk about family affairs." Lin Pingqiao was extremely afraid of the old man, but today he made up his mind and cried, "Grandpa, I just want a fair competition. I just want to compete with Sister Tang to see who is more suitable to be the president of the Lin family." Lin Xiaotian was about to get angry. An old man in his 60s next to him said, "Elder brother, in fact, Pingqiao is right. A few years ago, he was still young, and it doesn't matter if he is not the president. But now Pingqiao is old, and there should be a fair competition." The old man who spoke was Lin Xiaotian's cousin, Lin Xiaofeng. He was also a direct descendant of the Lin family and had a great say in the Lin family. Then, another old man said, "That's right. I think Pingqiao is quite capable. We should give him a chance to show off." After that, the direct descendants of the Lin family, who were of the same generation as Lin Xiaotian, began to speak for Lin Pingqiao. Finally, an old man in his 80s stood up and said tremblingly, "Xiaotian, no matter what, Pingqiao is also a man of our Lin family. Although Momo is also good, she is a woman after all. She will get married sooner or later. I think you'd better give Pingqiao a chance at the right time." Lin Xiaotian could ignore what others said, but this old man was so senior that he had to call him 7th uncle. He was the only one in the previous generation of the Lin family. By now, he had seen that all this was planned by Lin Pingqiao, or there would not be so many people standing up on this occasion. Lin Xiaotian was suddenly in a dilemma. As the current master of the Lin family, he must be fair and just. Now so many people stood up to speak for Lin Pingqiao. If he did not listen, it would be arbitrary and unfair. If he forced him to change his mind, not only would the dignity of the master be offended, but it would also be unfair to Lin Momo, who had always been diligent. Just when he was in a dilemma, Lin Momo stood up and said, "Grandpa, I also hope to compete fairly with my cousin. If Pingqiao is really capable of being the president, I'm willing to quit." "All right then." Lin Xiaotian sighed. Lin Momo could take the initiative to propose a fair competition, which was totally sensible, which made it much easier for him to be the master of the family. He said to Lin Pingqiao, "How do you want to compete?" Lin Pingchao was overjoyed and Lin Xiaotian agreed. What he did just now was not impulsive, but had been planned for a long time, including those elders of the Lin family who just spoke for him. They were all persuaded by him in advance, and some even sent very heavy gifts. Seeing that he had succeeded, he controlled his excitement and said, "Our Lin's group has always been mainly engaged in the jade industry. I hope that my cousin and I can open a store without relying on the strength of Lin's group. At that time, the one who makes the most profit will be the most suitable master of the Lin family." Lin Xiaofeng said, "Brother, this is a good idea. If you can run a jade store well, you can prove that you can lead the whole Linji group well." Lin Xiaotian turned to Lin Momo and said, "Momo, what do you think of this?" "I think it's good." Lin Momo agreed without hesitation. During this time, she had had enough of Lin Pingchao's constant harassment. She hoped that she could completely cut off Lin Pingchao's hope in this way. If Lin Pingchao could really win, she would be willing to give up the position of president. Then carry out according to this plan, but for the sake of fairness, the rules still need to be refined. Lin Xiaotian thought for a moment and said, "Our Lin family has recently opened a new branch in Jiangnan City. It hasn't opened yet. For the time being, we will give it to you as a platform for fair competition. The store will be divided into two parts from the middle. Each of you can run your own jade industry there. The time limit is 8 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the evening. The one with the highest turnover will be the winner. From today on, you go back to prepare, and the store will officially open in 3 days." Lin Xiaofeng nodded and said, "This is the fairest way, but we need a fair person to collect the money in the store, so as to avoid disputes on the turnover." According to his idea, he wanted to be the notary, but Lin Xiaotian had already seen that his cousin was partial to Lin Pingchao, so he didn't give him the chance at all. He said, "The problem of the notary is very easy to solve. There is only one cashier in the store, and the goods sold on both sides will be collected uniformly. Zhigao and Ziyuan will supervise the cashier together, so there will be no problem." His idea was really clever. Although Lin Ziyuan and Lin Zhigao were brothers, they naturally preferred their own children, so the two of them would be at the cashier, and naturally there would be no difference of a penny. Lin Ziyuan said, "Although this method is good, there is still a problem, that is, how to prevent the two sides from using their own money to buy their own goods, so it becomes a competition of two people's financial resources, and no one can see whose sales ability is stronger." Lin Pingchao's heart suddenly jumped. He did have such a plan before. Even if he couldn't compare with Lin Momo in sales, he would be able to win when he used his own money to buy his own goods. He didn't expect that his uncle would say it first. Lin Xiaotian thought for a moment and said, "This is easy. All the sales of both sides on that day will be collected by the group. If they have money and are willing to donate to the group, then I will be more willing to accept it. As the saying goes, old ginger is spicier." Although this method couldn't 100% eliminate fraud, it had a great restrictive effect. Think about it, no one could take a lot of money out of their pocket, and finally all the money went into the pocket of the group. Speaking of this, he turned to Lin Momo and Lin Pingchao and said, "Do you have any objection?" This opportunity was fought for by Lin Pingchao with all his efforts, so naturally he would not object. He quickly said, "I have no objection." Lin Momo said, "I will listen to Grandpa." Things came to an end here, and then the birthday party began to continue. In the afternoon, Lin Xiaotian's birthday party ended, and Lin Momo and Qin Haodong returned to Lin's villa together. After the little fellow entered the door, she rode on Dumao and ran out to play. Lin Ziyuan said to Lin Momo, "Momo, in fact, you can completely refuse today, Grandpa will certainly not force you." Lin Momo said, "I know Grandpa will not force me, but I don't want to always be said to rely on Grandpa's protection to sit in the position of president. I want to prove myself. And recently my cousin has been making trouble for me again and again. I also want to let him completely give up through this matter." "But, what if you are going to lose?" Lin Ziyuan asked. If I lose, I lose. In fact, it is really tiring to sit in the position of president. It is not bad to give it up. As long as you can accept it, no matter what you choose, Dad will support you. Lin Ziyuan then went upstairs, leaving only Qin Haodong and Lin Momo in the hall. Seeing his father-in-law leave, Qin Haodong took Lin Momo's hand and said, "Momo, how was my performance today?" "Very good. Thank you for preparing such a good gift for Grandpa." Lin Momo kissed Qin Haodong on the cheek and said, "This is your reward." Then she said, "You taught Lin Pingchao a terrible lesson today. You didn't leave a gift of more than 30 million yuan. He is about to go crazy. He always wants to steal your limelight. No one can bully my woman at will." Qin Haodong said, "But Lin Pingchao is really scheming. Although he is angry, he is still far from being mad. Everything that happened later was prepared by him long ago." Lin Momo asked with a little surprise, "Do you mean that he and Grandpa prepared to compete with me in advance? It's not an impromptu idea." Qin Haodong said, "Of course not impromptu. Otherwise, there would not be so many people standing up for him. These people must be his helpers in advance." Lin Momo still did not believe it and asked, "Can he? If he had prepared before, why did he try so hard to send gifts to Grandpa? Couldn't he just propose to compete with me? You used your wisdom on outsiders, while Lin Pingchao used his little thought on his own family, trying to take the position of president from you." Qin Haodong said, "If I'm not mistaken, he has prepared two strategies in advance. The first one is to please the old master through gifts. If the old master can happily hand over the position of president to him, it will be the best. The second one is to force the old man to agree to a fair competition between you and him. Because of me, his first strategy did not succeed, so he had to use the second one." Lin Momo did not say anything, which was a tacit agreement. As Qin Haodong said, she was very smart, but she did not want to spend her time on her own family, so she did not think too much about Lin Pingchao. Chapter 165. Lin Momo said, "Of course I want to win. No matter who the opponent is, it's not my character to admit defeat." Qin Haodong said, "Since Lin Pingchao challenged you, he must have made full preparation in advance. Since we want to win, we have to prepare well." Lin Momo said, "I've been managing the group for so many years, and I've fought dozens of business battles, big and small. I've never lost. Of course, I won't lose this time. It's too simple. This is different from a normal business battle. Lin Pingchao is gloomy. Since he challenged you, he must have prepared many dirty tricks. Can he? After all, Grandpa is watching. Alas." Qin Haodong sighed and said, "As soon as you meet your family, your IQ immediately drops. Well, you're responsible for decorating the store, and I'll handle the rest." Lin Momo said, "Oh. Well, thank you for your hard work." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Not at all. This is what I should do. Didn't the great man say that behind a successful woman there will be a man? No matter who wants to bully my woman, I'll make him pay." After dividing the work, Qin Haodong left the Lin's villa and went directly to the home of Su Haichuan, the master of carving. Now he had a lot of raw materials of jade, and they were all of high quality. But if he wanted to get the highest turnover in one day, a good carver was indispensable. Superb carving skills were indispensable for a high-end jade product. Sometimes a good carver could improve the quality of the jade, and even double the value. For example, the yellow jade chicken given to Lin Xiaotian just now was worth about 200 million yuan if it wasn't for the exquisite carver. But after it was given by Su Haichuan, Qian Duo valued it at 400 million yuan, which showed how important carving was. When Qin Haodong arrived, Su Haichuan's family warmly welcomed him into the living room. "Dr. Qin, are you satisfied with the jade chicken?" Su Haichuan asked. "Very good." After Qin Haodong affirmed Su Haichuan's craftsmanship, he said, but this time I'm here to ask Master Su for help. Su Haichuan said, Dr. Qin, you are the savior of our family. If you have anything to say, just say it. Your business is our business. Qin Haodong told the whole story of Lin Pingchao's challenge to Lin Momo, and then said, the Lin family is not allowed to use any power in this competition. I still have a lot of raw jade materials, and I need Master Su's help to make them into finished products. No problem. It's a piece of cake. Su Haichuan immediately agreed when he mentioned the matter of jade carving. It was within Qin Haodong's expectation that Su Haichuan could help. He said, isn't 3 days a little short? Should I find more people to help? After all, to support a jade store, 1 or 2 finished products are definitely not enough. There's no need. The 3 of us are enough. Seeing Qin Haodong's puzzled look, Su Haichuan explained, my son, Su Xiaolong, has been taught by me for a long time. His craftsmanship is no worse than mine, and he is much more energetic than me. In fact, half of the yellow jade chicken that was taken away was carved by my son. I was in charge of carving during the day, and he was in charge of carving at night. If I didn't say it out, no one could see the difference. My wife has been with me for so many years. Although she doesn't have the skill of carving, she is more than enough to do some auxiliary work. Qin Haodong said, that won't do. You see, that roast chicken took 3 whole days to carve. We can't only have 1 piece of jade, no matter how good it is. Su Haichuan shook his head and said, there's no comparison at all. That roast chicken is almost the best thing I've ever carved in my life. It belongs to the best of the best, so it naturally takes more time and energy. Ordinary jade products don't need to be used at all. I can carve one in a few hours. With Xiaolong's help, it's not a problem to make a dozen of jade products in 3 days. Qin Haodong thought about it. Quality was more important than quantity. Jade products were originally high-end products, and a dozen of them were enough. So he nodded and said, thank you, Master Su. In order to increase work efficiency, Qin Haodong also took out 3 physique-improving pills and gave one to each of the 3 members of the Su family. After taking the physique-improving pills, Su Haichuan's family was amazingly energetic. They barely slept for 3 days. They were busy carving except for eating and drinking. Qin Haodong was not idle either. He kept carving spells on the finished products, such as mind-clearing spell, evil-repelling spell, and chi-nourishing spell. Although these spells were the lowest spells in the cultivation world, they were still very useful for ordinary people. If Su Haichuan's exquisite carving skills could double the value of jade products, then the value could be increased more than 10 times with the help of the spells. In Lin Zhigao's home, Lin Zhigao, Zhang Xiuying, and Lin Pingchao were sitting together. Zhang Xiuying said, son, you challenged Lin Momo in public at the birthday party today. Isn't it a little reckless? Reckless? Lin Pingchao smiled proudly and said, it's not reckless at all. I planned it a long time ago. If I hadn't pushed the old man to the corner in public today, he wouldn't have given me such a fair chance. Now the whole Lin family has witnessed it. As long as I beat Lin Momo in the game 3 days later, the old man has no chance to regret it. The president of Lin's group will be mine. Lin Zhigao said, but you made the old man lose face by doing this. Lin Pingchao's face changed and he said almost crazily, who can blame me? He forced me to do this. He's an old fool. I'm the only man in the 3rd generation of the Lin family, and I'm not bad at ability. Why should Lin Momo be the president? If I don't seize this opportunity, I can't sit in the position of president in this life. Son, you did the right thing. I support you. Zhang Xiuying then said worriedly, but if you really lose to Lin Momo this time, it will be difficult for you to be the president in the future. There is no other way. I can't wait, so I have to take a risk. Lin Pingchao said, and I have made full preparation before this. If those old things didn't benefit from me, how could they speak for me at the birthday party? Lin Zhigao said, now the old man has agreed and set an open game for you. But Lin Momo has been in charge of the group for so many years. Can you be her opponent? Lin Pingchao said with a conceited face, why not? I'm no worse than Lin Momo in ability. And I've been prepared for this day. Lin Momo can never be my opponent. Zhang Xiuying asked, son, how did you prepare? Tell me, so that I can rest assured. Lin Pingchao said, for this game, I have to prepare in 3 aspects. First of all, we are not allowed to use any resources of the Lin family in this game. I have shipped a lot of raw jade materials from the Jade Gang in Myanmar in advance and found the best carving master to make the finished products. In this way, we can completely crush Lin Momo in both quality and quantity. Zhang Xiuying nodded and said, this is indeed a big advantage. There are only 3 days before the game. It is too late for Lin Momo to prepare. And now the Jade Gang has cut off the supply to the Lin family. I'm afraid she can't even find the raw materials of the jade. Lin Pingchao showed a trace of pride and continued, secondly, in terms of sales, I have made full preparation. Lin Momo can't sell many things at that time. Finally, and most importantly, I have to prepare enough funds, just in case. If Lin Momo's sales are really greater than ours, then we will spend all our money on it. I don't believe that we can't beat that girl. Lin Zhigao said, son, are you crazy? Didn't you hear the old man say that all the sales of this game will be included in the Lin's group? If we use our own money to increase the sales, we will lose all our money. Lin Pingchao said, you can't catch the wolf without risking the child. Although we have invested a little in advance, as long as I become the president of the group, we can get the money back easily. Son, you are right. As long as you can be the president, the money of the Lin's group will belong to our family. Zhang Xiuying said to Lin Zhigao, take out all the money in your pocket and give it to our son. Lin Pingchao also said, Dad, how much money do you have? Give it to me first. When I become the president of the group, I will double it for you. Lin Zhigao took out a bank card and said, son, my money is your money. But I only have 10 million left. Zhang Xiuying immediately became angry and cried, what? Only so little money? Where did all your money go? Chapter 166. Lin Pingchao told him about the competition with Lin Momo from beginning to end, and then said, I need a sum of money for the final preparation just in case. As long as I win the competition, the president of Lin's group will be mine. Feng Tianda said, it sounds good, but I've already prepared so many raw jade gemstones for you. Isn't it inappropriate for me to give you more money? Lin Pingchao said, haven't we agreed that you help me become the president of Lin's group, and I will help you get Lin Momo? And the money is just a backup, and the possibility of using it is not high. Feng Tianda hesitated for a moment and said, then I promise you, because I like Lin Momo. Tell me, how much money do you need? 300 million yuan. Do you need that much? 300 million is not a small number. If you lose the money, who can I ask for the money? Lin Pingchao said, no way. As long as I have the money, I will never lose. No matter how powerful Lin Momo is, she can't sell 300 million yuan in one day. I will win the competition. I'm a businessman, and I don't fight a battle I'm not sure of. How about this, you give me an IOU, and I lend you the money. You have to pay me back after a week, no matter you win or lose. If you can't pay me back, I will use 3% of your shares to pay you back. Lin Pingchao said, 3% of the shares. No way, 1% of our shares are worth 300 million, how can we use 3% as a mortgage? Feng Tianda said, didn't you say you will win? It doesn't matter how much the mortgage is, it's just a formality. You know I don't have the final say in the Feng's family. Those old guys must agree to use such a large amount of cash flow. Only if they believe you can pay back the money, they will give you the money. Lin Zhigao's family only had 10% of the shares in total, and 3% was definitely a big number. But after hesitating, Lin Pingchao said, "Well, I promise you, get the money ready as soon as possible, I will use it in 3 days. Don't worry, as long as you bring me the IOU, the money will be in your account in 3 days." Feng Tianda said and hung up the phone with a smirk. The butler was the person he trusted the most. He didn't leave just now and heard the conversation clearly. When Feng Tianda hung up, the housekeeper said, "Are we really going to lend Lin Pingchao so much money?" Feng Tianda smirked, "Why not? As long as Lin Pingchao is willing to pledge 3% of the shares of the Lin family, no matter he wins or loses, we will be the winner." The steward said again, "But young master, I still don't understand why you want to cooperate with Lin Pingchao. Just for a woman, it doesn't seem worth it." Feng Tianda said with a proud face, "You're still too short-sighted. Lin Momo is just a cover. Although I really want to get her into bed, a woman is a woman. It's not comparable to the interests of our Feng family." Ever since the last drug case, our Feng family's reputation has plummeted, and our sales are dropping every day. Lin Momo is really ruthless. She took advantage of this opportunity to suppress our Feng's group and make it hard for us to breathe. The reason why I want Lin Pingchao to be the president of the Lin family is that he is a good-for-nothing. Although he is good at playing small tricks, he doesn't know the management and operation of a big group. He can't even compare with Lin Momo's little finger in terms of ability. As long as he becomes the president, our Feng family will immediately have a chance to turn over. By then, we can not only turn over, but also directly annex the whole Lin's group. That's my ultimate goal. Good. Young master, you are so good. The housekeeper raised his thumb and said with a flattering face. Feng Tianda continued, "If Lin Pingchao can win this time, he will become the president of Lin's group, and our goal will basically be achieved. If he can't beat Lin Momo, he can't pay us the 300 million, and 3% of the shares of the Lin family will be ours. With 3% of the shares, we will become the shareholders of the Lin family, and it will be a nail in the whole Lin's group, and it will be much easier to deal with Lin Momo." It turned out that Feng Tianda didn't really stop after the last drug case, but secretly contacted Lin Pingchao and used the power of the Jade Gang in Myanmar to stop the supply to Lin's group. All this was not an accident, but his latest plan to deal with the Lin family. And Lin Pingchao was just a chess piece from beginning to end, but he didn't know it himself, and was trying his best to prepare for his dream of being the president. In the morning of the 4th day, after Qin Haodong and Su Haichuan were busy, 20 pieces of exquisite jade were placed in front of Qin Haodong, including bracelets, pendants, Buddha statues, Guanyin statues, and Pishio which could gather wealth and so on. After saying goodbye to the Su family, Qin Haodong took these things to the store designated as the competition venue by Lin Xiaotian. At this time, the store had been renovated. Different from other stores, there were 2 plaques hanging on the roof. The antique plaque on the left said, "Daqin Jewelry." This was obviously the work of Lin Momo, who used Qin Haodong's surname, and looked very elegant, compared with Pingchao Jewelry on the plaque next to it. After seeing him, Lin Momo hurriedly ran out and said, "Haodong, why are you so late? It's almost 8 o'clock, and we haven't got our things yet." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Don't be in such a hurry. Good food is not afraid of late. I've brought all the things." After saying that, he walked into the jewelry store with the bags in his hand. Nalan Wushuang and Qi Wan were already waiting inside. They were the 2 salesgirls he specially invited today. The most expensive one was the Jade Guanyin, which was priced at 200 million yuan. Lin Momo was an expert in jade. After seeing the price, she covered her forehead and said, "Are you sure you remember correctly? We are comparing the sales, not the total price. What's the use if you can't sell them even if the price is high? We will lose in the end." With the huge scale of Lin's group, only a few treasures would be priced at more than 10 million yuan. A bracelet like Qin Haodong's was priced at tens of millions yuan. It was impossible to sell such a sky-high price. Qin Haodong said, "Our things are absolutely worth the money, and the price is not expensive at all. And you can rest assured that there will be nothing left when we get off work." The lowest quality of these things he chose was the glutinous rice type. Coupled with Su Haichuan's superb carving skills, and the most important thing was the incantation he engraved, the price was cheap. "Well, you can do whatever you want. I won't be the president anymore." Now Lin Momo had no other way. Without using the resources of Lin's group, it was impossible to find more goods to put here. Soon it was 8 o'clock. Lin Ziyuan and Lin Pingchao came to the store together. They were in charge of the cashier together. After everything was ready, the store officially opened. When the door was opened, customers came in one after another. Because Qi Wan, and Nalan Wushuang were too beautiful and dazzling, many people came here to see the jewelry. But when these people saw the price tags, they immediately turned around and left. But Lin Pingchao had sold several pieces in succession. Lin Momo asked, "Haodong, are you sure we don't want to lower the price?" "No, according to this price, we will lose money." "You can't lower the price." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's just the beginning. I'm here, you can't lose even if you want to." At this time, a big fat man who weighed 100 kilograms walked in from outside the door. His two small lustful eyes first circled Qi Wan, and Nalan Wushuang's slim bodies a few times, then he pointed to a bracelet and said, "Show me this." Chapter 167. The fat man picked up the bracelet, looked at it and said, "How much is it?" As the young lady of the Qi family, Qi Weiner was not qualified to be a shopping guide except for her beauty. She said impatiently, "Isn't it written on the label, 30 million, 30 million? Are you King robbing me? Even if you sell your clothes, you can't get so much money in 100 years. The fat man raised the jade bracelet in his hand and threw it to the ground. It was obvious that this guy was here to make trouble. He took a lot of money from Lin Pingchao, and Lin Pingchao promised that he could get out as soon as he went to the police station. That was why he was so unscrupulous and aggressive, just to mess up Lin Momo's sales. However, the emerald bracelet did not shatter as he had expected. He looked down and saw that the emerald bracelet had fallen on the tip of one of his feet. It was not damaged at all. Qin Haodong had 500 years of experience in the cultivation world, and he had seen all kinds of things. He had guessed that Lin Pingchao would definitely play some tricks since he would not compete with Lin Momo fairly. So he began to pay attention to the fat man when he entered the door. When the fat man was about to throw the bracelet, he immediately stretched out his foot to catch it. He gently lifted the bracelet with his tiptoe, and the bracelet jumped up and fell into his hand. At the same time, Qi Weiner also broke out. The fat man dared to say that she was selling. As the young lady of the Qi family, how could she not be angry? Under the cheongsam, her snow-white long legs drew a white light, and the 10-centimeter high heels fiercely kicked on the fat belly of the fat man. Ah! The fat man let out a scream, and his body, which weighed more than 100 kilograms, was kicked 7 or 8 meters away, and fell in front of the shop with a thud. That was not all. Qin Haodong had already arranged for Zhang Tiniu to stay nearby with 10 security guards from Daddy Security Company. When he saw someone making trouble, Zhang Tiniu immediately rushed over and grabbed the fat man's collar. He slapped him repeatedly in the fat face, which was as big as a cattail leaf fan. Soon, the guy's head was swollen like a pig's head, and then he kicked him out of the door. Qin Haodong put the bracelet back on the counter, glanced at Lin Pingchao, and then said to Zhang Tiniu, "If there is such a troublemaker again, directly break his legs." "Got it, boss." Zhang Tiniu and his security guards said at the same time. The fat man outside the door was scared to get up from the ground and ran away. Seeing his first plan failed, Lin Pingchao's expression did not change much, and he still looked calm. The business of the store continued. About 10 minutes later, a middle-aged man wearing glasses walked in from outside. He was dressed in a suit and leather shoes. He looked gentle and refined, like a successful person. He first came to Pingchao Jewelry and exclaimed when he saw the things on the counter, "The jade here is so good. Not only is it exquisite, but it's also of good quality. I must choose a good one for my wife today." The man exaggeratedly praised for a while, and finally, chose a jade rui, and bought it with rui at jade rui. But after that, the middle-aged man did not leave directly, but turned around and walked to Daqin Jewelry. At this time, his expression was completely different from before. While looking at the things on the counter, he kept shaking his head and said, "You are also in the jewelry business, but you are so much worse than Pingchao Jewelry. Not only are the goods inferior, but the carving is also inferior. How can you sell it at such a high price? This is not the attitude of a businessman, isn't it?" Everyone could see that this guy was obviously hired by Lin Pingchao. Zhang Tiniu looked at Qin Haodong with an inquiring look, and as long as Qin Haodong nodded, he would immediately break the guy's legs. Qin Haodong slightly shook his head. If the fat man acted like a rogue just now, no one would say anything if his legs were directly broken. But if the customer said that his goods were not good enough, then no one would dare to buy from him. He went to the middle-aged man and said, "Sir, you can choose not to buy our goods, but you can't talk nonsense. What we sell in Daqin Jewelry is quality. Although it's a little expensive, it's all good stuff that is worth the money." Good stuff. Quality. What a joke. The middle-aged man laughed and pointed to the rui jade in his hand and said, "Look at the carving of this rui jade. The pattern is exquisite and beautiful. It's obviously made by a master." He pointed to another rui jade in the counter of Daqin Jewelry and said, "Look at this one. What is it? It's obvious that he's just randomly carving a few blades to fool people." Qin Haodong's mouth was full of disdain. Obviously, the quality of the actor hired by Lin Pingchao was not good, and he didn't know anything about jade carving at all. This rui jade was made by Master Su Haichuan, and had reached the realm of simplicity. Although there were only a few carvings, it was absolutely profound and better than the one in Qin Haodong's hand. Lin Momo was an expert in jade. She couldn't help saying, "Sir, please don't talk nonsense, or you will be laughed at. Although the carving of this rui jade in your hand is not bad, it can't be compared with the one in Daqin Jewelry. I have no taste." What a joke. How could I have no taste? Even people who don't know jade can see that the one in my hand is obviously made by a master. After that, the middle-aged man turned to a waiter of Pingchao Jewelry and said, "Little girl, can you tell me which master made this rui jade?" The waiter said, "Sir, this rui jade is the work of Mr. Zhou Haoyang, the master of jade carving. If you don't believe it, I can ask Master Zhou to come out and meet you." The middle-aged man cried, "Great! Master Zhou is a famous carving master in Jiangnan. Please ask him to come out and let these people see who has no taste." Qin Haodong watched quietly. It was obvious that Lin Pingchao had planned all of this. When the waiter invited a middle-aged man in his 30s out, 4 or 5 reporters with cameras rushed into the jewelry store and began to interview them on the spot. He knew one of them. It was Li Yuanyuan, who he met at the board meeting of Lin's group last time. When Zhou Haoyang came out, Li Yuanyuan immediately went to interview him. "Master Zhou, is this rui jade made by you?" Zhou Haoyang said, "Yes, it took me 3 days to carve it. The quality is very good." "Master Zhou, are all the jade products of Pingchao Jewelry your works?" Li Yuanyuan asked again. "You can say that some of them are made by me, and some by my apprentice. But no matter which one is made by me, the quality is guaranteed," Zhou Haoyang said confidently. At the same time, the reporters' flashes kept flashing. The middle-aged man said, Master Zhou, I just said that your work is better than the Rui jade of Daqin jewelry, and they said that I have no taste. Zhou Haoyang smiled arrogantly. There is an old saying in Wuxia that people of the same trade are enemies. Maybe their things are better than mine. Everyone could see that he was praising Daqin jewelry. He was obviously saying that the Rui jade of Daqin jewelry was not as good as the one he carved. Li Yuanyuan said, Master Zhou, we are all laymen in jade carving. Can you give us a specific comment on the difference between the two works? Lin Pingchao didn't go forward. He just watched quietly, with a smug look on his face. He had arranged all this in advance, so that he could beat Daqin jewelry with Zhou Haoyang's carving skills, and then make a promotion through the media. Zhou Haoyang said hypocritically, we all carve for a living. It's not appropriate for me to comment on it. The middle-aged man said, it's nothing. Since he dares to sell his work at such a high price, he should accept the comment of a master. Li Yuanyuan said, that's right. Master Zhou, please help us laymen. Well, I'll do it. After that, surrounded by these people, Zhou Haoyang went directly to the counter of Daqin jewelry. Zhang Tiniu and others wanted to stop him, but Qin Haodong stopped them. He wanted to see how Master Zhou would comment on Su Haichuan's work. Zhou Haoyang came to the counter of Daqin jewelry with an arrogant face. When he saw the Rui jade on the counter, he was stunned and couldn't say a word. The middle-aged man didn't notice Zhou Haoyang's abnormality. He said proudly, Master Zhou, I'm talking about this Rui jade. Although I'm a layman, you can see that the carving technique is much simpler than yours. It's like cutting corners. Li Yuanyuan said, Master Zhou, say something. What's the difference between the two jade Rui jade? Zhou Haoyang still didn't say anything. At this time, a cold snort came from the side. Someone said, how dare you call yourself a master? Everyone looked back and saw a middle-aged man in his 50s standing behind Zhou Haoyang. It was Su Haichuan. The middle-aged man said discontentedly, who are you? How dare you talk to Master Zhou like that? Master Zhou can't call himself a master. Are you a master? Li Yuanyuan said, yes, sir. Master Zhou is a famous master in the south of the Yangtze River. You should be polite to him. Su Haichuan sneered, you want me to respect him? Do you think he deserves it? How can you talk like that? Why can't Master Zhou? What else did the middle-aged man want to say? At this time, Zhou Haoyang came to Su Haichuan respectfully. He bowed deeply and said, Master, I'm your disciple. The onlookers were shocked, including the customers who came to buy goods. No one had expected that the arrogant Master Zhou Haoyang was the disciple of the man in front of them. The middle-aged man was dumbfounded. Li Yuanyuan also opened her mouth, speechless. Su Haichuan said, tell me, what's the difference between my Rui jade and yours? Zhou Haoyang said respectfully, I don't dare to comment on your masterpiece. I've taught you for so many years, but you haven't made any progress. Look at what you've carved. Su Haichuan pointed at the Rui jade in the middle-aged man's hand and said coldly, from today on, go back and practice hard. If you can't reach the state of simplifying and returning to the original state, don't come out and embarrass me. Yes, master. Zhou Haoyang bowed to Su Haichuan respectfully like a primary school student, and then left the jewelry store without looking back. Lin Pingchao was dumbfounded. Zhou Haoyang was an engraver he spent a lot of money to hire. He originally wanted to suppress Qin's engraver, but he didn't expect that Zhou Haoyang was Qin's disciple. Chapter 168. Although Zhou Haoyang had left, what happened just now was a vivid advertisement for Qin Haodong. Everyone knew that the jade here was made by a master, so the guests immediately gathered around Daqin jewelry. Lin Pingchao gnashed his teeth, but the price of the jade here was too high. Although there were many people watching, they still couldn't make a sale, which made him feel better. This beautiful lady, can I have a look at that jade rui? A middle-aged man with a Hong Kong accent said to Naylan Wuxia. The man was about 40 years old, wearing a famous suit and a Rolex watch worth more than 1 million yuan. He was obviously a rich man. But his trachea didn't look very good. When he spoke, he was a little breathless and coughed a few times. The middle-aged man took the jade rui in his hand and carefully looked it up and down. He couldn't help sighing and saying, "It's really a masterpiece, and the quality of this jade is also good. But 30 million yuan is a little expensive." "Well, I'll take it if it's 10 million yuan. Seeing the hope of making a sale, Naylan Wuxia and Lin Momo looked at Qin Haodong together, their eyes full of inquiry. In their opinion, it was a lot to sell the rui for 10 million yuan. But they were disappointed. Qin Haodong came over and said, "This jade rui is at least 30 million yuan, no less." The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "It's too expensive. Although it's good, it's not worth 30 million yuan." Qin Haodong didn't talk about the jade anymore. He asked, "Sir, you're not from Jiangnan, are you?" The middle-aged man said, "I'm from Hong Kong, and I'm doing business in Jiangnan." "You're a Hong Kong businessman?" Qin Haodong said again, "Sir, your lungs and trachea are not very good, right?" "I do have some problems with my lungs. I often cough. I've seen many doctors, but they can't cure me. It's getting worse these years, and now there are signs of asthma." The Hong Kong businessman didn't have much interest in chatting with Qin Haodong. He said, "Little brother, I want this jade rui for good luck. Well, I'll pay 15 million yuan. If you sell it, I'll take it away. If not, I'll leave." Seeing someone offered such a high price to buy Qin Haodong's rui jade, Lin Pingchao was so jealous. Although Pingchao Jewelry had opened several stores, the total price was less than 1 million, which was even less than a fraction of the price of Qin Haodong's rui jade. At this time, Lin Pingchao wished he could rush over and pull the Hong Kong businessman to his side. Lin Momo also winked at Qin Haodong from time to time. In her opinion, 15 million was a lot. As long as they sold the jade rui, they could take the lead. "Sir, I've said it before. Everything here has a fixed price. Not a penny less." Qin Haodong refused again. Lin Momo was disappointed, but Lin Pingchao was happy. Fortunately, Qin Haodong didn't sell it, or he would be in trouble. The Hong Kong businessman shook his head in disappointment and turned around to leave. At this time, Qin Haodong said, "Sir, this jade rui is not suitable for you. You can try this jade pendant." Then he reached out and took out a yellow jade pendant from the counter. It was made of the yellow jade leftover from the jade roast chicken. The Hong Kong businessman shook his head and said, "I'm sorry. I want that jade rui for good luck. I don't like this pendant." Qin Haodong said, "Don't refuse it. Try it on and you'll know. It's the most suitable thing for you." The Hong Kong businessman looked at Qin Haodong with confusion. Finally, he took the jade pendant and hung it around his neck. "Little brother, this pendant is good, but I really don't need it." The Hong Kong businessman suddenly changed his expression. It turned out that since he put on the jade pendant, a cool feeling rose from his chest. He didn't gasp or cough when he talked. He felt very comfortable from his lungs to his trachea. "What's going on? Is it because of this pendant?" The Hong Kong businessman couldn't believe it. In order to verify his guess, he took the pendant off his neck. But as soon as the pendant left his chest, the feeling of gasping in his lungs came back. He put the pendant back on and immediately felt very comfortable. Now he was finally sure that all this was caused by the pendant. The Hong Kong businessman looked excited and said to Qin Haodong, "Little brother, what's going on? Is this pendant a magic instrument?" Feng Shui was very popular in Hong Kong, so it was not surprising that the businessman knew about magic instruments. Qin Haodong said, "This is a magic instrument. There is a spell engraved on it to strengthen the body. As long as you wear it all year round, not only will your lung disease slowly recover, but it will also be good for your whole body. It can be said that you will not get sick. That's great, little brother. I didn't expect you to have such a treasure. If it's a magic instrument, it's not expensive at all. It's even too cheap. The Hong Kong businessman pointed to the jade rui and asked, "Is this also a magic instrument?" Qin Haodong nodded and said, "Yes, but there is a spell engraved on the rui, which is suitable for people who are manic or infected with external diseases. That's why I said it's not suitable for you. I'll take this pendant. Little brother, do you have any good things that can make me rich?" The Hong Kong businessman asked excitedly. Although feng shui was very popular in Hong Kong and there were many masters, it was extremely difficult to find a magic instrument. He didn't expect to find so many of them here. If it wasn't for the limited amount of cash he had, he would have bought all of them in one go. In this case, he decided to choose a pendant that could strengthen the body and a magic instrument that could make money. After all, he was a businessman. The more money he made, the better. Qin Haodong pointed to an emerald pixiu and said, "If you want to get rich, you can choose that. The pixiu itself means to make money, and there is a spell engraved on it. But the price of the pixiu is a little more expensive. 50 million, no less. 50 million is not expensive at all." The Hong Kong businessman said excitedly. What he said was absolutely true. If this kind of magic instrument was taken to Hong Kong, the price would be at least 5 to 10 times higher. But in the eyes of others, it became a lot more strange. Lin Momo, Chi Wan, and others all looked at the Hong Kong businessman in surprise. They thought, is he crazy? He said it was not expensive while buying things. Little brother, I'll take both of them. Please wrap up the pixiu for me. The Hong Kong businessman said with a happy face. The emerald pendant was hanging on his neck, and he didn't want to take it off for a moment. Although his business in Jiangnan was not smooth, it was a great joy for him to be able to buy 2 magic instruments at once. Pay over there. 30 million for the pendant and 50 million for the pixiu. 80 million in total. Qin Haodong pointed to the cashier and said. Under everyone's gaze, the Hong Kong businessman took a bank card to the cashier and quickly paid 80 million in one go. After paying the money, he happily took the 2 items and left the store. Everyone was dumbfounded. These 2 items earned him 80 million in the blink of an eye. The speed was too fast. Lin Momo was overjoyed, but Lin Pingchao was so angry that he gnashed his teeth and scolded, "Bullshit. It must be a shill. Otherwise, who would spend 80 million on those 2 things?" Anyway, Duchin Jewelry had sold 80 million in turnover, far ahead of Pingchao Jewelry. After that, both sides continued to sell. Although Lin Pingchao's store was full of customers and products were sold one by one, the price of his products could not be compared with Qin Haodong's. After selling dozens of products, it barely reached 10 million. And Duchin Jewelry just sold a jade magic instrument worth 20 million, and the total turnover had reached 100 million yuan. Bastard, you used 100 million to find shills to buy your own things. No matter how much money you have prepared, you can't have more than me. Lin Pingchao had lost the confidence to sell slowly. He went into the bathroom, took out his phone and dialed Feng Tianda's number. "Mr. Feng, I'm short on money. Hurry up and ask someone to bring me all the money." "What? You can't hold on after just one morning?" Feng Tianda asked with a smile. "Don't mention it. Lin Momo must have prepared the money. 3 things just sold for 100 million yuan. I can't compare with her. Don't worry, I'll call my cousin right away." Lin Pingchao said, "You must tell him to pretend well, and don't let the cat out of the bag." "I know." Feng Tianda hung up the phone and asked the housekeeper to call a young man in. This man was his cousin, Zhang Bao. He had been studying in M country these years and just returned to Wuxia a few days ago. He didn't know many people in Jiangnan, so he was the best person to be a shill. "Cousin, what's up?" Zhang Bao's face was a little pale, and he didn't look well. Feng Tianda said, "It's the thing I told you yesterday. There are 300 million yuan in this card, and the password is 6 fives. Now go to Pingchao Jewelry to buy the best jade products and spend half of the money. Then I'll ask someone else to spend the other half. Remember, it's very important. Don't make a mistake." Zhang Bao said, "Don't worry, cousin. I'm the best at spending money. I'm sure I won't make a mistake. Just spend the money on Pingchao Jewelry. I promise no one will know I'm a shill." Then he took the bank card, turned around and walked out of the office. Qin Haodong was in charge of Daqin Jewelry. Time passed very easily. Now he had 100 million yuan. As long as Lin Pingchao didn't play any tricks, Lin Momo would win. At this moment, he saw a young man in his 20s coming in from the door. His pupils suddenly shrank. The young man's lower abdomen was covered with a cloud of black gas. Of course, this black gas couldn't be seen by ordinary people. Zhang Bao walked into the jewelry store with his hands in his pockets. To avoid exposing his identity as a shill, he didn't go directly to Pingchao Jewelry to spend money. Instead, he went to Daqin Jewelry first. As soon as he saw Nalan Wushuang in Qin Wan, in Chongsam, his eyes lit up, and a violent sense of beauty hit his brain nerves. He had never seen such beautiful women in so many years. But then he fell into a great loss, because he had lost the function of a man. No matter how beautiful a woman was, he could only appreciate it. The reason why Zhang Bao returned to Wuxia this time was that he met a native girl during a one-night stand in M country. After that, the girl insisted on marrying him, but he didn't agree. But from that day on, he lost the function of a man, and he never cheered up again. He saw many doctors, but none of them had any effect. No matter how advanced the equipment was, they couldn't find anything wrong with him. Later, someone told him that he was cursed by the Aborigines. Chapter 169. But he had been back in Wuxia for 7 or 8 days. He had seen all the famous doctors of traditional Chinese medicine in the south of the Yangtze River and taken a lot of Chinese medicine to strengthen the kidneys, but it still didn't work. Thinking of this, Wang Bao shook his head hard, as if to get rid of the depression in his heart. Then he forced himself to turn his eyes from the beauty to the counter of Daqin Jewelry. Why are there so few items? After selling 3 jade products in succession, there were only 17 exhibits left in Daqin Jewelry. They were placed in the wide counter, which looked really empty. Damn, why are they still so expensive? Wang Bao was shocked when he saw the labels of the exhibits. He had traveled all over the world and had been to many jewelry exhibitions, but he was still shocked by the prices in front of him. "Beauty, let me have a look at that gem necklace," Wang Bao said to Nalan Wushuang. Before Nalan Wushuang could say anything, Qin Haodong came over and patted Wang Bao on the shoulder. He held a dragon-shaped jade pendant in his hand and said, "Sir, please take a look at this jade pendant. It's perfect for you." Wang Bao turned his head to look at Qin Haodong, and then fixed his eyes on the jade pendant in his hand. It was a green jade pendant carved with water and ice. There was a huge dragon on it, flying in the clouds, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was obviously the work of a master. He took the jade pendant and looked at it. He said, "It's not bad, but no modern people wear such things." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "You can't know whether it's good or not until you try it. Sir, you can wear it and feel it. Maybe you can't live without it." "Are you kidding? It's just a delicate jade pendant. It's not a drug. I can't be addicted to it. Why can't I live without it?" Wang Bao said as he hung the dragon-shaped jade pendant on his waist. As soon as he put it on, he felt a warm current rising from his waist. The second leader, who had been silent for several months, suddenly became full of vigor and fighting spirit. "My God, what's going on?" Wang Bao was so shocked that he almost jumped up. In the past few months, he had a deep taste of what it was like to be a chief executive. He didn't expect that he would be rejuvenated. He was so excited that he almost cried. What's going on? Could it be related to this thing? Like the Hong Kong businessman, Wang Bao took off the jade pendant and put it back on. He tried it a few times and finally confirmed that the jade pendant was the reason why his second-in-command could stand up again. Qin Haodong just looked at Wang Bao with a smile and said nothing. The dragon-shaped jade pendant was attached with the spell of exorcism, which could restrain the curse on Wang Bao. That was why he recommended it to him. After calming down, Wang Bao asked Qin Haodong, "Little brother, what's going on? If I'm not wrong, you've been bewitched by someone, and this jade pendant happens to have the function of strengthening the body and dispelling evil, so it's most suitable for you." "Little brother, no, great master, I have indeed been cursed. Do you think I can still be saved?" Wang Bao looked at Qin Haodong eagerly as if he was his savior. It was no wonder. He had been looking for doctors and Taoist priests everywhere, but these people could do nothing about the curse on his body. Now that he finally saw hope, how could he not be excited? Qin Haodong said, "It's very simple. Wear this jade pendant for 3 months, and the evil qi will be removed naturally." "Great master, how much is it?" "I'll take it," Wang Bao said excitedly. 100 million yuan, no bargaining. That's too expensive." Qin Haodong said lightly, "It's not expensive as long as it's worth it. Otherwise, even if you spend 1 billion yuan, you won't be cured. You'll have to serve the emperor in the palace. And my jade pendant is only for sale for 1 day. Wait, if someone else buys it, you won't have a chance to buy it even if you want to." Thinking of the grievances and pain he had suffered these days, Wang Bao finally gritted his teeth and said, 100 million it is. I'll take it. Then he went to the cashier to pay, but Qin Haodong stopped him and said, "Don't worry, this ring is also very suitable for you." As he spoke, Qin Haodong took out a gem ring from the counter and gave it to Wang Bao. Wang Bao took the ring and put it on his finger, but he didn't feel any difference. It didn't have the immediate effect when he wore the dragon-shaped jade pendant. "Master, what's so good about this ring?" Qin Haodong said, "In fact, I'm a doctor. I just know some magic. I think you've been overused these years. Even if you get rid of the evil spell, I'm afraid you can't be a father in this life. Master, help me." After hearing this, if there weren't so many people around, Wang Bao would have knelt down and kowtowed to Qin Haodong. Relying on his good family, he had been playing around since he was a teenager. He didn't know how many women he had slept with, but it also caused him to be seriously overused. 3 years ago, when he had a physical examination, the doctor said that he had a low sperm count. He was doomed to be infertile. As he grew older, his desire for a family and children grew. Naturally, he hoped that Qin Haodong could cure him. He said eagerly again, "Master, as long as you can cure me, I'm willing to pay any price." Qin Haodong said, "The function of this ring is to constantly replenish your yang qi. As long as you know how to control your life, you can make up for the deficiency in your body in a year and be a father again." "That's great, master. How much is this ring?" "I'll buy it." "Not expensive, only 50 million. Okay, I'll pay now." Then Wang Bao rushed to the cashier to pay. Lin Momo and others were stunned, and then they felt it was funny. The scene just now was a bit familiar. Why did it feel so similar to the Big Hoodwinker skit on the CCTV Spring Festival Gala a few years ago? Anyway, Qin Haodong made a turnover of 150 million in a blink of an eye, which was beyond the reach of the best salesman in the world. At the cashier, Lin Ziyuan and Lin Zhigao also opened their eyes wide when they heard that Wang Bao was going to give 150 million to Daqin Jewelry. Then Lin Ziyuan looked excited, while Lin Zhigao was full of jealousy. He wanted to grab the money and give it to his son. But Wang Bao said it was for Daqin Jewelry, so he couldn't do anything even if he was anxious. Lin Pingchao also saw the scene, and he was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. He was secretly worried, wondering why the person Feng Tianda hired hadn't come yet. If he knew that Wang Bao was a shill sent by Feng Tianda, and he just spent the money on Qin Haodong, and it was his 300 million, he would probably go crazy immediately. After Wang Bao paid, he took the jade pendant from Qin Haodong and put it on his waist, and the gem ring on his finger. Then he realized that he was going to be a shill for Pingchao Jewelry. So he hurried to Lin Pingchao with his bank card, randomly chose some things, and swiped the remaining 150 million. Then he left the jewelry store in a hurry. Now all the people in the jewelry store were confused. They didn't know what Wang Bao meant. Did he buy things here just because he was rich? Lin Pingchao's turnover increased by 150 million yuan at once, which made him very happy, but at the same time, he was a little confused. He thought Wang Bao was a shill hired by Lin Momo, but who knew Wang Bao spent 150 million yuan on Daqin Jewelry and the same amount on him? Who was the shill? Lin Momo and the others were also confused. Wang Bao bought things in Pingchao Jewelry at random, so he must be a shill. But if he was a shill hired by Lin Pingchao, how could he have bought 150 million yuan from them? No one would have thought that Qin Haodong had earned the 150 million yuan with his own ability. After Wang Bao left the jewelry store, he was also confused. How could he explain to his cousin when he spent 150 million more? Anyway, his health was the most important thing. He should go back and tell his parents, and then he would return the money to his cousin when he had enough. Thinking of this, Wang Bao didn't go back to Feng Tianda, but went home directly. He was afraid that Feng Tianda would find him, so he turned off his phone. It was already past noon, and the turnover of Pingchao Jewelry was still 90 million behind that of Daqin Jewelry. Lin Pingchao was really anxious now. He called Feng Tianda again. "Mr. Feng, why hasn't your man come yet?" Feng Tianda said with surprise, "My cousin has already gone there. I asked him to spend 150 million at your place first, and then I'll find someone to spend another 150 million, but he hasn't come back yet." Hearing this, Lin Pingchao's heart skipped a beat, and he asked nervously, "Is your cousin about 1.7 meters tall, a little fat, wearing a checkered half-sleeved shirt and dark blue jeans?" "Yes, that's my cousin Wang Bao." Feng Tianda asked, "Have you seen him?" Lin Pingchao said, "If that man is your cousin, he has been here." "That's good. I asked him to spend 150 million at your place, did he do it?" Lin Pingchao said with a pale face, "He did spend 150 million at my place, but I don't understand why he also spent 150 million at Lin Momo's place." Feng Tianda said with surprise, "Wang Bao also spent money there." "That's impossible, I asked him to bring the money back." "It's not impossible. I saw it with my own eyes. He did spend 150 million at Qin Haodong's place and bought 2 things. Is he crazy?" Feng Tianda was also confused, and he said, "Don't worry, I'll call him now." Then he hurriedly hung up the phone with Lin Pingchao, and then dialed Wang Bao's number. "Sorry, the number you dialed is not available." Feng Tianda called several times in succession, and the same tone came from the other side. "What the hell, this guy is so unreliable." He cursed with annoyance. Although his aunt's assets were not as strong as Feng's group, they still had billions, so he was not afraid that Wang Bao would go back on his word. But he couldn't raise so much money in a short time. At this time, Lin Pingchao called again. "Mr. Feng, how's it going? Did you find the money? Call me as soon as possible, I'm really in a hurry, and I still need 100 million turnover from Lin Momo. Feng Tianda said, I don't know where Wang Bao is, and his phone is turned off. I can't do anything about it. Lin Pingchao became anxious and cried, Mr. Feng, how can you do this? Hurry up and think of a way to get me another 150 million, or else I'll really lose this competition. Chapter 170. Feng Tianda, you're setting me up, aren't you? Lin Pingchao was completely anxious. He cried with bloodshot eyes, if there's no money, I'll lose this game. I can't be the president of Lin's family, and I can't get back all the money I invested. What do you want me to do? Lin Pingchao, don't forget who you're talking to. Feng Tianda said, I've been helping you all the time. Without my help, how could the Jade Gang stop supplying to Lin's family? Without my help, where can you find so many raw materials of jade? Lin Pingchao also knew that he was too harsh just now. He calmed down and said, but if there's no follow-up money now, I'll lose this game. All the previous efforts will be in vain. It's just a game. It's not a big deal to lose. Besides, it's not over yet. It's not too late to find a way. You're the young master of Lin's family. You can't even get this little money, can you? Lin Pingchao was so angry that he couldn't do anything. If he could find the money so easily, he wouldn't mortgage 3% of the shares of Lin's family to him. I can find a way to get the money by myself. What about the shares I mortgaged? Feng Tianda said lightly, what else can you do? The shares are in the hands of the board of directors. I'll give them back to you when you get back 300 million. If you can't get them back, there's nothing I can do. Lin Pingchao said angrily, but you only gave me 150 million. Stop it. Hurry up and find a way to get the money. Feng Tianda didn't give Lin Pingchao a chance to speak. He hung up the phone directly. Feng Tianda, I'll F***CKU. Lin Pingchao roared at the phone, which scared the others in the bathroom. They thought he was a psycho. They pulled up their pants and ran out. But he also knew it was not the time to lose his temper. The most urgent thing was to find the money. After thinking for a while, he dialed Zhang Xiuying's phone and said, Mom, no matter what you do now, whether you borrow money or mortgage all the houses and shares of the family, you must get me 200 million before 4 p.m., or we'll lose this game. Son, where can I get so much money in such a short time? How about we give up, and the loss will be smaller? Bullshit. Lin Pingchao didn't care that it was his mother on the phone. He roared crazily, 4 p.m., if you can't find the money, I'll kill myself. He was like a gambler who had lost so much that he was hysterical. He wanted to fight Lin Momo to the death at all costs. He was hysterical and would fight with Momo to death with Lin Momo at any cost. Zhang Xiuying was scared by Lin Pingchao. She hung up the phone and hurried out of the house. First, she borrowed 100 million from Zhao Zhongchen. Then she mortgaged several properties of her family and got another 100 million loan. At 4 p.m., Lin Pingchao, Lint right, Lin's, Lin. And, Lint right, LL, Lint, he, wanged, he the same that you, he said, I, he, wang, he. As for Qin Haodong, although he sold a product worth 20 million yuan, the total turnover was only 270 million yuan, which was 100 million yuan lower than Lin Pingchao's. Lin Pingchao calmed down when he saw he was in the lead. He looked up at the clock on the wall and then at Qin Haodong. He felt proud. There's less than an hour left until the agreed time of 5 p.m. I'd like to see where you guys can find 100 million. Lin Momo, although the turnover of 250 million was far beyond her imagination, she would lose the game if it went on like this. Seeing her anxious look, Qin Haodong said calmly, don't worry. The big buyer will be here soon. What big buyer? You're hiding something from me, aren't you? Lin Momo asked. Just then, there was a commotion at the door. More than a dozen luxury cars stopped in front of the door. More than a dozen people got off the cars and walked to the jewelry store, surrounded by many bodyguards. Look, the big buyer is here. After saying that, Qin Haodong waved to Zhang Tiniu and others. Go out and bring the guests in. Zhang Tiniu answered and went out. Soon, more than a dozen people walked into the jewelry store. They all wore masks and sunglasses, as if they were afraid of being recognized. The leader was a tall woman. Although she wore a mask and sunglasses, her unique temperament could not be hidden. After entering the store, the woman looked around and saw Qin Haodong. She walked over with a smile, took off the mask and sunglasses, and gave them to the assistant next to her. Oh, my God, am I seeing things? Isn't this the big star, Ouyang Shanshan? Ouyang Shanshan. It's really Ouyang Shanshan. Goddess, can I have your autograph? Goddess, can you take a picture with me? Many people immediately rushed up to Ouyang Shanshan when they saw her. However, Chen Fugui and his men protected Ouyang Shanshan closely. With the cooperation of Zhang Tiniu, they directly blocked these people out of the crowd. Then, the people behind Ouyang Shanshan also took off their masks and glasses. Suddenly, the commotion at the scene became louder and louder. These people were all famous stars in Wuxia. There were handsome men and beautiful women. The jewelry store suddenly became full of stars. Fortunately, there were not too many guests in the store, so the situation could be controlled. Ouyang Shanshan took a few steps forward and came to Qin Haodong. She said, Mr. Qin, these are all my friends. Let's see what good treasures you have in your store. Next, she introduced all the stars behind her to Qin Haodong. These people all came forward to greet Qin Haodong with extremely respectful expressions. None of them were arrogant at all. The onlookers were stunned. They didn't know who this young man was and why so many big stars were so respectful to him. They didn't know that before they came, their boss, Lu Huaqiang, had given a strict order to these people. They should treat Qin Haodong the same way they treated his father. If anyone dared to make Qin Haodong unhappy, they would immediately be given a cold palace and banned for life. Because of this, these big stars put away their arrogance and put on a flattering smile on their faces. Ouyang Shanshan received a call from Qin Haodong, so she came with her friends in the entertainment circle to support him. After greeting them, she said to Qin Haodong, Mr. Qin, can you introduce your treasures to my friends? Our great Qin Jewelry's jadeite products are all made from the best jadeite materials and carved by master sculptors. They look very exquisite, and most importantly, they're not just for decoration. Each type has its own function, and everyone can choose a treasure that suits them according to their own circumstances. Qin Haodong said to a male star standing next to Ouyang Shanshan, you haven't been sleeping well recently. This male star was Ma Jun, 30 years old. He was a very famous A-list star in Wuxia and the dream lover of countless female fans. The reason why he came to the jewelry store this time was to show respect to Ouyang Shanshan and the big boss Lu Huaqiang. But deep down, he didn't take a young man like Qin Haodong seriously. Moreover, most stars had trouble sleeping because of the pressure, so it was not a big deal for him to see it. He nodded and said, yes, Mr. Qin. I haven't been sleeping well recently. Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward and whispered in Ma Jun's ear, the reason why you can't sleep well at night is not because of the pressure, but because you dream about a woman who wants to kill you every night. This situation has been going on for about 10 days, right? Ma Jun was shocked and said in a trembling voice, how did you know? If you don't want to be the headline of the paparazzi tomorrow, keep your voice down. Qin Haodong continued to whisper in Ma Jun's ear, this woman was killed by a car accident. 10 days ago, you passed by the road where she was killed on your way home. She attached herself to you because she couldn't find the murderer who killed her, so she vented her anger on you. Mr. Qin, no, Master Qin, please help me. I really can't hold it anymore. Ma Jun had been dreaming about a female ghost who wanted to kill him since 10 days ago, so he couldn't sleep well every night. He hadn't told anyone about this, but Qin Haodong could tell him clearly, which made him believe that he had met a master. Take this jade guanyin home, and you can sleep well tonight. Qin Haodong pointed to the jade guanyin on the counter and said. It was priced at 200 million yuan. The reason why his product was priced at 200 million was not only because the raw material was excellent ice-type jade, but also because this jade guanyin was enchanted with two kinds of spells, the exorcism spell and the peace spell. It was definitely a good thing to seek good luck and avoid evil at home. Okay, I'll buy it. Chapter 171. Qin Haodong said, this bracelet is very cheap, only 30 million. 30 million is really not expensive for such a good thing. After saying that, the female singer immediately turned her head and asked her agent to pay at the cashier. As soon as Lu Meina bought the bracelet, another female star next to her hurried forward and said, Mr. Qin, help me see which one you have here suits me. Miss, try this necklace. Qin Haodong began the continuous sales mode. The big stars brought by Ouyang Shanshan were not short of money. It was rare to find something suitable for them, so they all bought it. In less than half an hour, the 20 jade products brought by Qin Haodong were sold out. Ouyang Shanshan brought people here, but when all the things were sold out, she did not buy any herself. She could not help but complain to Qin Haodong, why do you have so few things? I haven't bought anything yet. We're all friends. Don't mention it. I've already prepared yours. Qin Haodong said and took out a jade Buddha pendant from his pocket. Men wear guanyin, women wear Buddha. You can wear it with you. It's good for you. Thank you. You're so nice to me. Ouyang Shanshan did not know whether she was happy or shy. There was a blush on her delicate cheeks. After all the things were bought, the stars did not stay any longer and left the jewelry store together. At the cashier, Lin Ziyuan was smiling as he collected the money. Fortunately, he paid by card now. If he counted the money in cash, he might really have a cramp in his hands. Some were happy and some were sad. Lin Ziyuan was happy, but Lin Zhigao and his son were pale. Everyone could see that Lin Pingchao lost miserably, without any room for maneuver. At this time, the old man Lin Xiaotian came in from outside with several important members of the Lin family. The clock on the wall just pointed to 5 o'clock. How is it? Is the result of the game out? Lin Xiaotian said to Lin Zhigao and Lin Ziyuan at the cashier. Lin Zhigao looked depressed and did not speak. Lin Ziyuan said, yes, Pingchao sold 375. 2 million. So much? Lin Xiaotian was surprised and asked, what about Momo? Momo sold it for 760 million yuan. Lin Ziyuan said with a proud face. After all, this was his daughter's victory. As for Qin Haodong, in his eyes, he was already a prospective son-in-law. The credit of a son-in-law naturally belonged to his daughter. How much did you sell? Say that again. This time, not only Lin Xiaotian, but also the people behind him were shocked. It was amazing that Lin Pingchao could sell for more than 300 million yuan, but Lin Momo doubled his price. To be able to sell more than 700 million in a day was something that they didn't even dare to imagine. 760 million in total, Lin Ziyuan said aloud again. Good, this is really good. As expected of my granddaughter. Lin Xiaotian, the old man, immediately smiled. He knew his grandson and granddaughter very well. He was worried that Lin Momo would lose under Lin Pingchao's little trick, but he didn't expect that she would win with such a big advantage. He turned around and said to Lin Xiaofeng and the other elders, you've all seen it. Momo is really capable. It's not wrong for me to choose her as president. Then he came to the center of the hall and announced to everyone loudly, Lin Momo won this competition, and she will continue to be the president of Lin's group. Although he had already guessed the result, Lin Pingchao still felt dizzy and almost fell to the ground when he heard it from Lin Xiaotian's mouth. He left the jewelry store in a hurry. If he stayed any longer, he might vomit blood. Today's failure was a great blow to him. Lin Pingchao left. After the competition, Lin Momo, Qin Haodong and others also left the jewelry store together. After returning home, Lin Pingchao began to smash the decorations in the house as soon as he entered the door. The wine glasses, teacups, and glasses were all smashed on the ground. Even the fish tank in the living room was smashed by him. Several goldfish were struggling on the ground. "Son, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Xiuying hugged Lin Pingchao and said, "Son, we have mortgaged these things. If you break them, you have to pay for it." "Bastard, Qin Haodong, Lin Momo, I want you to die, all of you." Lin Pingchao fiercely shook off Zhang Xiuying and then took out the phone in his pocket to call Feng Tianda. In the Feng's group, a big man in black stood in front of Feng Tianda. The man was about 30 years old. He was not particularly tall, but looked extremely tough. He was Lucas, the right-hand man of Zhou Tianhu, the boss of the Jade Gang in Burma. Lucas said to Feng Tianda, "This time the boss asked me to kill the boy named Qin. I hope you can cooperate with me." "That's great. The boss should have killed the boy long ago." Thinking of Qin Haodong, Feng Tianda gnashed his teeth with hatred. "No one can live after offending our Jade Gang." Lucas said fiercely, "The reason why we came here is that the control of guns in Wuxia is too strict. The boss also spent a lot of effort to transport these guys into Wuxia. I heard that the boy named Qin Haodong is very good at fighting, but can he be better than guns? This time I must kill him and avenge Meng Gang in Meng Tai." In the Jade Gang, Lucas had the best relationship with the Meng brothers, so this time he volunteered to come to Wuxia to kill Qin Haodong. Feng Tianda also thought so. In his eyes, Qin Haodong was already a dead man. He said excitedly, "Mr. Lucas, you take your brothers to have a rest first. I'll inform you when I get the exact news. We have to kill Qin Haodong with one blow and not give Qin Haodong a chance to escape." After that, he asked the housekeeper to take Lucas and a dozen of his men to have a rest. As soon as these people left, his phone rang. Feng Tianda glanced at the caller ID. It was Lin Pingchao. He pressed the answer button. As soon as he pressed the answer button, he heard Lin Pingchao's crazy roar, "Feng Tianda, find someone to help me kill Qin Haodong and Lin Momo." Feng Tianda smiled. There was no doubt that Lin Pingchao lost the game. He said methodically, "Child Lin, it's against the law to kill people. I won't do this kind of thing. If you want to do it yourself. Do you think I don't want to? I found someone to do it 3 times before. Unfortunately, the bitch ran away. As long as you help me kill Qin Haodong and Meng Tai, I'll give up the 3% shares." Lin Pingchao had lost his mind at this time. He dared to say anything. If Qin Haodong heard it, he would be shocked. The mastermind he had been looking for a long time turned out to be Lin Momo's cousin. "Will you keep your word?" Feng Tianda asked with surprise. The 3% shares might be worth about 1 billion yuan. Although he had it now, it was just a mortgage. Lin Pingchao could redeem it with money at any time. "Of course. As long as you help me kill the 2 bitches, I'll give up the 3% shares and the 150 million yuan. Lin Pingchao's eyes were full of bloodthirst. He wanted to kill Qin Haodong and Lin Momo now. Well, it's a deal. Qin Haodong must die. But it's a pity to kill Lin Momo. I promise she won't show up in Jiangnan City again." Lin Pingchao said, "That's fine. As long as you take Lin Momo away, I can sit on the throne of the Lin family. Wait for my good news. We'll do it tonight." Feng Tianda hung up the phone and laughed. Zhou Tianhu had sent Lucas to kill Qin Haodong tonight. But Lin Pingchao, the idiot, took the initiative to give him shares worth 1 billion yuan. It was an unexpected fortune. In the Lin's villa, Lin Ziyuan asked Chef Zhang to prepare a table full of food and wine. The family sat together to celebrate. "Mr. Lin, I know Momo couldn't win today without you. Thank you for your help. Come on, let's have a drink." Lin Ziyuan said and raised his glass to Qin Haodong with excitement. The little fellow listened and asked curiously, "What's a son-in-law?" Lin Ziyuan said with a smile, "A son-in-law is your father, and your father is our son-in-law." "Oh." The little fellow nodded as if she understood, but then she asked, "Should I call him Papa or son-in-law?" Lin Ziyuan gently pinched her little face and said with a smile, "Of course you should call him Papa. I'm the one who calls him son-in-law." Lin Momo blushed and said, "Dad, what nonsense are you talking about?" "Nonsense? From today on, Haodong is the son-in-law of the Lin family." Lin Ziyuan said and raised his glass to Qin Haodong. "Come on, son-in-law, let's get drunk today." The old man really did what he said. After a few glasses of wine, he fell unconscious on the table. Qin Haodong felt funny for his father-in-law's drinking capacity was too poor. After a while, the little fellow also finished eating and ran out to play with Dumao and Ermao. Only Qin Haodong and Lin Momo were left at the table. Because of the alcohol, Lin Momo's cheeks had a touch of red, and she looked particularly shy and attractive. She raised her glass to Qin Haodong and said, "Thank you so much today." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I've said that I'm your son-in-law. We're family. You don't have to thank me. You're glib. I didn't say I would marry you." Lin Momo said, "The raw materials of the goods sold today are yours, and the products are all made by you. I'm a little embarrassed that all the money from the sale was taken into Lin's group. Today's sales were 760 million yuan, which was a big loss." Qin Haodong said, "It's nothing. I'm already your son-in-law. This money is my betrothal gift." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "If you really want to thank me, let's have our wedding night tonight. In your dreams. I have to accompany my daughter." Lin Momo said with a blush on her cheeks. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo's hand and whispered, "Then let's have our wedding night secretly after our daughter falls asleep. Let's talk about it then." Lin Momo already had Qin Haodong in her heart, so she didn't refuse. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. He couldn't wait to take the little fellow to bed and coax her to sleep. But at this moment, the mobile phone in his pocket rang. The phone call was from Yao Qianqian. She had been responsible for keeping an eye on Lin Pingchao according to Qin Haodong's arrangement. After eavesdropping on the phone between Lin Pingchao and Feng Tianda, she quickly reported the situation to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong listened to the phone, and his face became colder and colder. Finally, there was a sharp murderous aura all over his body. Lin Momo looked very strange. She didn't understand why Qin Haodong suddenly became like this. After he hung up the phone, she asked, "Who called? What's going on?" Chapter 172. Found him. Lin Momo asked in shock, "Who is it? Who wants to kill me?" "It's Lin Pingchao." Qin Haodong briefly told her what Yao Qianqian had heard. Lin Momo plopped down on the sofa and murmured, "How could this be? How could this be? It's just the position of president. Is it necessary to be so cruel? I'm his cousin. In some people's eyes, there is only profit, no family." Qin Haodong said with a murderous look, "Anyone who dares to hurt my woman must die." "Haodong, what are you going to do?" Lin Momo asked nervously. "Don't worry about it. I'll deal with it." In Feng's group, the housekeeper hurried to Feng Tianda's office. After entering the door, he said, "Young master, our people just saw Qin Haodong and Lin Momo driving away from Lin's villa. They went out of the city together. It's so late. What are they doing out of the city? Feng Tianda asked. I don't know, but they looked very excited and didn't bring bodyguards. It seems that they are going out for a ride. Maybe they won the game today and want to go out to celebrate. Celebrate? A ride? It's all good things today. It seems that God is helping people when they are lucky. Feng Tianda smiled very proudly. The Jade Gang sent killers. Lin Pingchao gave 3% of the shares, and Qin Haodong and Lin Momo ran out of the city very cooperatively. Good things happened one after another today. All he needed to do was to reap the benefits. Since they want to go for a ride, let's go to hell for a ride. A cruel look appeared on Feng Tianda's face. He said to the housekeeper, hurry up and call Mr. Lucas. Tell him the opportunity has come. Let's act now. Outside Jiangnan City, the night was cool and the moonlight was like water. Everything looked so beautiful. On the road, a red Ferrari convertible was driving forward unhurriedly. Lin Momo sat in the passenger seat and enjoyed the cool night wind. She said to Qin Haodong, it's so late. Where are we going? Qin Haodong smiled and said, to go fishing. Lin Momo looked confused. Fishing? Where should I go fishing? Besides, we didn't bring any fishing gear. Jiang Taigong used a straight hook to fish, but we don't need a hook at all. Qin Haodong smiled and said, the big fish will come by themselves in a moment. Lin Momo understood and said, you mean Lin Pingchao? He's just one of them. We need to catch a lot of them. After Qin Haodong said that, he faintly saw from the rearview mirror that several black cars were catching up from behind. The fish is here. As he spoke, he turned the steering wheel and drove the sports car off the road, heading towards a remote road. Lucas rushed out of the Feng's group with a dozen of his men. Following Feng Tianda's guidance, they soon found the sports car in front of them. But at that moment, the sports car seemed to have noticed them. It turned into a small road. What an idiot. If their sports car was on the highway, it would be really troublesome for us to catch up. Now that they're on a small road, the superior performance of their sports car can't be displayed at all. Looks like they're really looking for death. Lucas waved his hand and shouted at the driver, hurry up and chase after them. There's no one in the wilderness. It's King good place to kill. Although they came to Wuxia, they were still very afraid of the Wuxia police. It should be noted that Wuxia had very strict control over guns. If they did it in the urban area, it would be easy to be discovered by the police. Maybe it would cause big trouble. Now, Qin Haodong and Lin Momo came to the wilderness together, which was tantamount to creating an opportunity for them to do it. After receiving the order, the drivers of these cars all stepped on the gas pedal. In the harsh roar of the engine, several cars quickly caught up with the sports car. After a while, they found that the sports car stopped at the foot of a small hill. Qin Haodong and Lin Momo stood hand in hand at the back of the sports car. In the bright moonlight, the handsome man and the beautiful woman had a feeling of floating in the air. Lucas seemed to feel something wrong, but he didn't care. They all had guns in their hands. How could they be afraid of the unarmed young man in front of them? He got out of the car with his men and surrounded Qin Haodong and Lin Momo. But for the sake of safety, they still kept about 10 meters away from them. Lucas pointed at Qin Haodong with the AK in his hand and shouted, "Boy, you must die today. Let that woman come here, and we can spare her life." Qin Haodong looked at Lucas and said with a smile, "When Meng Tai came last time, I told him that this is Wuxia and it's not the place for you Burmese guys to mess around. But he didn't listen to me and ended up like that. This sentence is also suitable for you now. Hurry up and kneel down with your men to beg for mercy, and then you can have a way to live. Otherwise, you can die with them. Boy, you're looking for death." After saying that, Lucas waved his hand to his men and said, "Shoot him into a sieve." As soon as his voice fell, before his men could even raise their guns, 6 or 7 black shadows suddenly sprang out like ghosts, and in the blink of an eye, all of them fell to the ground. These people were naturally the divine mercenaries hiding in the dark. Saber and his men had reached the peak of the 8th level of overt power. Coupled with their rich experience, it was easy for them to deal with these ordinary people. Lucas's men were knocked out before they even saw who their opponents were. Lucas was shocked. He didn't expect Qin Haodong to have so many masters here. He quickly raised the gun in his hand and pointed it at Qin Haodong. He shouted to Saber and the others, "Don't move, or I'll kill him immediately." Originally, he wanted to take a hostage, but when he shouted halfway, his whole body shook, and there was an inch-long silver needle in his chest. Now he couldn't move anything except his mouth, and his whole body was out of control. "Bastard, what did you do to me?" Lucas completely panicked. Only now did he understand why Meng Tai and Meng Gang were killed without a sound after they came to Wuxia. He had never seen such a strange method before. Qin Haodong came to Lucas, took the AK and threw it to Saber next to him. Then he kicked him to the ground and asked, "Tell me, who are you, and what's your purpose in coming to Wuxia?" Lucas was also quite fierce and cried, "Of course, to kill you. No matter who you are, as long as you offend our Jade Gang, there is only a dead end." "Jade Gang? I'll flatten it sooner or later." Then Qin Haodong ignored Lucas and turned to Saber and said, "Keep these guns. Take them to the company's warehouse and hide them. They will be useful in the future." "Yes, boss." Saber replied excitedly. As mercenaries, they had a special feeling for guns. Although these people were only holding ordinary AKs, it still made all the members of the Divine Mercenaries very excited. "Boss, what should we do with these people?" Saber asked after collecting the guns. "Each of these people's hands is stained with blood. It's a disaster to keep them alive. Send them all to hell." Then Qin Haodong waved his hand and threw a small bottle. "This is body-melting powder. Don't leave any traces." "Got it, boss." Saber answered and took the bottle. They were one of the top 3 mercenary groups in the world, so it was natural that they were familiar with this kind of thing. Seeing that Qin Haodong had ordered to kill them, Lucas hurriedly begged, "Please, let me go. I dare not come to Wuxia again." Qin Haodong said coldly, "It's too late to regret now. When you kill people, you should know that you will be killed one day. Boy, if you dare to kill me, our Jade Gang will not let you go." Before Lucas could finish screaming, his neck was grabbed by the long sword, and his life ended with a crack. Then Sword and others also killed Lucas's men. These people had done all kinds of evil in daily life, and now they got what they deserved. After killing all these people, Saber unscrewed the cap of the small bottle. There was light yellow powder inside. He poured a little on Lucas's body and was surprised to find that the body began to melt quickly. In less than 3 minutes, it had turned into a little black powder. As the mountain wind blew, it quickly disappeared, as if it had never appeared. "Boss, this is really good stuff." As mercenaries, killing was inevitable, but they had always thought that it was extremely troublesome to deal with the bodies. If they had body-melting powder, everything would become simple. Soon, Saber also cleaned up the other dozen bodies. Qin Haodong said to Lin Momo, "You go back with Saber first. I still have something to deal with." Lin Momo knew that he must be going to find Lin Pingchao. She wanted to say something, but she hesitated and held back. Lin Pingchao deserved to die. Feng Tianda paced back and forth in his spacious office alone, his face full of excitement. As he walked, he fantasized that Qin Haodong was shot into a beehive, that Lin Momo was lying on his big bed and being ravaged by him, and that there was 3% more shares of Lin's group in his pocket. No matter what, it made him inexplicably excited. Just then, the door was pushed open from the outside. "Who is it? I'll stop talking." Don't come in and bother me if you have nothing to do. Feng Tianda was very unhappy when his dream was suddenly interrupted. He turned to look at the door and suddenly opened his eyes in surprise. He said in a trembling voice, "You. Why are you here?" He never thought that it was Qin Haodong, who was shot into a beehive by his imagination. "Master Feng, didn't you send people to look for me everywhere? Why am I not welcome when I come to you?" Qin Haodong went straight into the office and sat on a sofa next to Feng Tianda, looking at him with a playful face. Feng Tianda cursed Lucas in his heart. He brought so many people and so many guns, but still let Qin Haodong kill him here. What a waste. But he dared not say it out. He forced himself to calm down and said, "Qin Haodong, I don't know what you're talking about." Qin Haodong ignored him and said to himself, "Feng Tianda, you can live a comfortable life as a rich man, but you just have to provoke me. You really don't know what's good for you." Feng Tianda said fiercely, "Qin Haodong, I warn you, don't mess around. This is Feng's group. Get out of here, or I'll call the police." Qin Haodong didn't want to talk nonsense with him. He directly used mind bewitching and asked, "Tell me, what's going on between you and the Jade Gang in Myanmar, and how did you hook up with Lin Pingchao?" 10 minutes later, Qin Haodong had asked everything clearly, including how he stopped the supply to Lin's group through the Jade Gang in Myanmar, and how he colluded with Lin Pingchao to deal with Lin Momo. Chapter 173. Late at night, the hustle and bustle of Jiangnan City slowly faded away, and everything seemed to fall asleep. But at this time, there was a great disturbance on the internet. Feng Tianda, the CEO of Jiangnan Feng's group, made a live video broadcast on a video platform on the internet to confess to the world. He not only listed all his bad acts of eating, drinking, gambling, and playing with women over the years, but also clearly stated that the Feng's group colluded with the Myanmar Jade Gang to smuggle raw jade gemstones, evade taxes, and many other dirty acts. At the same time, he also showed the account books and other evidence on the video. Has this bastard gone mad? Feng Tianda's father was doing exercises with a beautiful woman in bed. After hearing the news, he immediately kicked the woman out of bed, hurriedly put on his clothes and rushed to Feng's group. Not only him, the video was like a bomb, immediately blowing all the important members of the board of directors of Feng's group out of bed. Feng Tianda's self-repentance was equivalent to directly pushing Feng's group into the abyss. There was no room for recovery. Some of the Feng family simply ran away, and some looked for Feng Tianda, but no matter how they searched Feng's group, they could not find the shadow of the young master of the Feng family. Then the law enforcement department of Jiangnan City quickly operated. The public security, tax and other departments immediately searched Feng's group, and fixed the evidence. Just a few hours later, Feng's building, which had stood in Jiangnan City for many years, collapsed. Of course, all this was done by Qin Haodong. Before killing Feng Tianda, he did not forget to help Lin Momo eliminate an important competitor. And the young master of the Feng family, who had been arrogant for many years, had now been turned into a cloud of flying ashes by the corpse powder, and was washed down the dirty well along the sewer. In Lin Zhigao's house, Lin Pingchao sat on the sofa in the living room with blood-red eyes, anxiously waiting for Feng Tianda's reply. Looking at him, Zhang Xiuying persuaded, "Son, let's just forget it. Although the house has been mortgaged, we still have 10% of the Lin family's shares in our hands, and we don't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of our lives." Lin Zhigao also said, "Yes, son, Momo is your cousin. It's not a big deal to lose, bullshit." Lin Pingchao sat up from the sofa, grabbed a cup and smashed it on the ground. He roared crazily, "Lin Momo is a bitch. I don't have such a cousin. I want her dead." Zhang Xiuying said, "But you've done it so many times. Not only did it not work, but you also made us bankrupt. With the help of that guy surnamed Qin, we can't beat him at all. Impossible. I, Lin Pingchao, am resourceful. How could I lose to a woman and a gigolo? They are going to die soon. Then Lin Pingchao laughed wildly. He took out his phone and began to call Feng Tianda. But no matter how hard he called, no one answered. What's going on? Are you King dead? Why aren't you picking up the phone? Lin Pingchao was in a half-crazy state at this time. He cursed and pressed the button of the phone desperately. There's no need to fight. He's already dead. As the cold voice came, Qin Haodong's figure suddenly appeared in the hall of Lin's villa. Why are you here? Seeing Qin Haodong, Lin Zhigao panicked for no reason. Zhang Xiuying screamed in a sharp voice, "You've helped that woman to beat my son. What else do you want?" "Nothing, I just want to settle accounts with your son." Qin Haodong raised his hand and touched Lin Zhigao and Zhang Xiuying's chest. They suddenly fainted. Since Qin Haodong entered the door, Lin Pingchao's madness quickly faded, and fear faintly flashed in his eyes. The more greedy and possessive a person was, the more afraid he was of death and losing his own life. He was the most typical representative. He just wanted to tear Qin Haodong into pieces and eat his flesh, but now he was scared when he saw Qin Haodong in person. "What are you going to do? What did you do to my parents?" Lin Zhigao and Zhang Xiuying fell down, which made Lin Pingchao more panicked. In his heart, it was much better to face Qin Haodong with 3 people than to face Qin Haodong alone. "They're not dead. I just don't like too much noise, and I want to have a good talk with you." Qin Haodong spoke calmly, but it was still difficult to hide the faint flashing killing intent. He said to Lin Pingchao, "You arranged the driver who caused the accident when Momo was injured and hospitalized for the first time, right?" Lin Pingchao's expression changed, and then he denied, "No. Don't talk nonsense without evidence." There was no need to admit it. Qin Haodong had already found the answer from his look. He continued, "And the second time, the traffic accident, those killers were also hired by you. Including the third time, you hired that Bulsh *T soldier king from Southeast Asia." Lin Pingchao said, "Qin Haodong, don't try to trick me. You must have a recording pen or a camera, right? You want to get the evidence and send me to the Public Security Bureau? Don't dream. I won't be fooled." Qin Haodong ignored him and said, "Isn't it good for you to be a rich second generation? You don't have the ability, but you want to be a president. If you used normal means of competition, it would be fine. But why did you use such despicable means? You even killed your cousin. Although you have enough methods and are cruel enough, unfortunately, you met me. If it wasn't for me, maybe Momo would have been killed by you. But as long as I'm here, you can't even touch a hair of her." Thinking of his various failures, Lin Pingchao's eyes flashed a touch of hatred, and he said, "So what? Although I failed now, it doesn't mean I can't succeed in the future." "In the future?" Qin Haodong said disdainfully, "You have done so many evil things, do you think there will be a future? You must die today." Lin Pingchao's face flashed a trace of panic, but he still forced himself to calm down and said, "Although you said a lot, there is no evidence. Without evidence, the police can't arrest me, and you can't do anything to me. Idiot, you really don't have a long memory. I told you, I'm not the police, and I don't need evidence. Although you have erased all the immoral things you have done, so what? If I want you to die, even the gods can't save you." Feeling the monstrous killing intent released by Qin Haodong, Lin Pingchao was completely panicked. He stepped back and said, "Qin Haodong, I warn you, don't mess around. Killing is against the law. Against the law. Go to hell and sue me." Qin Haodong patted on Lin Pingchao's chest, and the green with genuine qi directly broke his heart meridian. It was already 2:00 in the morning when they returned to Lin's villa. Qin Haodong gently opened the bedroom door and saw the little fellow sleeping soundly, while Lin Momo was sitting on the bed, without even changing her clothes. "Momo, why are you still awake? Qin Haodong sat close to Lin Momo, put his arm around her shoulder and whispered. How can I sleep without you back? Lin Momo said, how is Lin Pingchao? Are you worried about him or me? Qin Haodong said. Of course I'm worried about you. Lin Pingchao has killed my mother and my daughter. He has lost his humanity. It has nothing to do with me whether he is dead or alive. You don't have to worry about me. Look, I'm fine. Qin Haodong's face changed, and he said in a cold voice, you and the little fellow are my reverse scale. Whoever dares to hurt you must die, even if he is God. Nothing will happen to you if you really kill him, right? Lin Momo said nervously. Although she had seen a lot of death recently, she was an ordinary person after all. Don't worry. Trust me. Nothing will happen. Qin Haodong said and held Lin Momo tightly in his arms. I won't let anything happen to me. I have to take care of you and Tang Tang, and protect you from being wronged for the rest of your life. Haodong, thank you for doing so much for me. Lin Momo said affectionately. How? Do you want to marry me? Qin Haodong said with a smile. Lin Momo looked up and hugged Qin Haodong. Then she slowly gave her red lips to him. Obviously, she was answering the question with practical actions. Qin Haodong would not flinch when he encountered such a good thing. He held Lin Momo tightly in his arms and began to attack her with his big hands. The two of them were like dry firewood and a raging fire. But when the raging fire was out of control, Qin Haodong suddenly sniffed and asked, what's that smell? Lin Momo also sobered up a little and said, I smell it too. It seems that something is on fire. She turned her head and saw that there was smoke and fire coming from Tang Tang. She quickly cried, no, it's Tang Tang on fire. How could there be a fire when she was sleeping? But at this time, Qin Haodong could not care so much. He quickly got up from Lin Momo and held the little fellow in his arms. Then he found that the source of the fire was Tang Tang. The little fellow's clothes were on fire, and there were inch-long flames coming out of her mouth and nose. The strangest thing was that the little fellow was still sleeping, and it seemed that she was sleeping soundly. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Did I give birth to a fire baby? Just as he was letting his imagination run wild, the clothes on his body began to catch on fire. Call someone to put out the fire. Qin Haodong told Lin Momo, and then rushed to the bathroom with the little fellow in his arms. There was no other way but to put out the fire with water. After rushing into the bathroom, Qin Haodong turned on the shower head, and then the father and daughter stood together. Under the fierce washing of the water, the flames on the two of them finally went out. At this time, the little fellow also woke up from her sleep. Papa, what are you doing? Why are you taking a shower with me in your arms? The little fellow asked in a daze. Qin Haodong turned off the shower head and said, don't say that. If Papa hadn't reacted quickly, the house would have been on fire. At this time, Saber and the others also helped Lin Momo put out the fire in the bedroom and rushed to the bathroom. Qin Haodong said to Saber and the others, it's all right. You can go back. Haodong, what the hell is going on? Why is there a fire all of a sudden? Lin Momo asked with a worried face. It seems that there is something wrong with Tang Tang, Qin Haodong said as he held Tang Tang with one hand and began to feel her pulse with the other. It took Qin Haodong 5 minutes to feel the pulse, and then Qin Haodong slowly withdrew his right hand. Papa, why are you holding Tang Tang's wrist? The little fellow did not understand what had just happened. She asked curiously. Haodong, do you see anything wrong? Lin Momo was worried to death when she heard that her daughter had a physical problem. Chapter 174. It was no wonder that Qin Haodong was shocked. The Suzaku's sacred body ranked 5th among the top 10 sacred bodies in the cultivation world, higher than Ma Wenjua's Kailan's sacred body. The congenital sacred body was a rare cultivation physique, which was rare even in the cultivation world. But in the past few days, he first saw the Kailan sacred body, and in the blink of an eye, his daughter became the Suzaku sacred body. Lin Momo didn't understand this. She asked anxiously, "What are you talking about? What is the Suzaku sacred body?" The little fellow also asked, "Yes, Papa, what is a Suzaku? Is it as beautiful as a peacock? I like peacocks with beautiful big tails." While speaking, her mouth seemed to be about to spit fire again. Qin Haodong quickly turned the little fellow to one side to prevent burning Lin Momo. "You are not a martial artist, so you don't understand. The Suzaku's sacred body is an extremely rare physique in the martial arts world, similar to the martial arts geniuses in martial arts dramas." Qin Haodong was afraid that Lin Momo would be anxious, so he comforted her, "Don't worry, it's a good thing. It won't hurt me." Hearing that, Lin Momo was relieved, but she still said, "But it's not a good thing to catch fire. What if there is a fire? Besides, I have to go to school tomorrow. I will be regarded as a monster by the children." "Don't worry, I have a way to solve it, and the Suzaku's sacred body will only be like this when it has just been awakened. It will be fine in a few days." Qin Haodong asked the little fellow to sit down, and then his hands successively hit 36 major acupoints on her body, using a unique method to seal the fire in her body. After all this was done, the little fellow finally returned to normal, and Lin Momo breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Haodong began to feel her pulse again, confirming that the little fellow was indeed the Suzaku sacred body. The time of awakening of the sacred body was also different. Ma Wenjue belonged to the kind that had been awakened since he was born, but because the Kailan sacred body was not as special as the Suzaku sacred body, it was not discovered. The little fellow's Suzaku sacred body was awakened relatively late, and it was awakened under the dual stimulation of Qin Haodong's elixir and Shantian Heart Sutra. If it weren't for his appearance, it might have to wait for a long time, and maybe it wouldn't be awakened in this life. However, now that the little fellow's Suzaku sacred body was awakened, it was no longer suitable for her to practice Shantian Sutra. Qin Haodong selected a set of Yan Emperor's mental method from his cultivation method and took the little fellow to practice. This was a set of cultivation method of fire attribute. After forming the foundation, the little fellow would be able to control the fire in her body. There was no need to worry about spitting fire like now. After Emperor Yan's mental cultivation method formed a basic cycle in her body, Qin Haodong took her back to bed to sleep. Just in case, Qin Haodong did not leave. Instead, he lay down next to the little fellow. After all, the fire of the Suzaku sacred body was too overbearing. His current cultivation was too low, and the seal he set was very weak. It was possible that the seal would be broken at any time and cause another fire. The next day, two sensational news broke out in Jiangnan City. First, Feng Tianda, the young master of the Feng family, publicly repented, and then disappeared mysteriously. Then Feng's group was uprooted by the judicial department for suspected smuggling and tax evasion. Feng's group, which once occupied half of the jewelry industry in Jiangnan City, completely collapsed. The most bizarre was Feng Tianda's disappearance. According to the surveillance data obtained by the police, it was confirmed that he returned to his room and never came out again. However, such a big living person disappeared out of thin air. Feng's group had an accident, and Lin's group, the second jewelry giant, was not quiet. Lin Pingchao, the third generation of the Lin family, failed to challenge Lin Momo yesterday. After returning home, his emotions were seriously out of control. Later, it caused a myocardial infarction and suddenly died. His father, Lin Zhigao, and his mother, Zhang Xiuying, became mentally ill because of excessive stimulation and were both sent to a mental hospital. In a very quiet small building in the suburbs of the imperial capital, an old man with white hair and a beautiful woman in her 20s were staring at the computer screen in front of them. The video of Feng Tianda's own repentance was playing on the screen. After watching for a while, the old man asked, "Girl, what do you think?" Although the woman looked extremely serious, she gave people a very charming feeling. She blinked her beautiful big eyes and said, "Although this man looks very normal, I'm sure that he is controlled by someone. But the level of the other party is very high, ordinary people can't see it at all. I suspect that the person who cast the spell is from Xianmen. Just as I think." The old man said, "Some time ago, there were 2 videos of public confession in Wufeng County, Jiangnan City. One was the director of the County Public Security Bureau, Fu Haiken, and the other was his brother-in-law, Bai Wenjie. The situation is very similar to that of Feng Tianda. I suspect that it was done by the same person. Grandpa, I've seen those 2 videos. Although they confessed that their minds were controlled, the content of what they said was completely true. It can be seen that the caster is not a villain, so I don't think we need to intervene in this matter." The old man said, "Anyway, it's still against our rules to use Xianmen magic on ordinary people. But I don't want to do anything to him. You go and have a look. If he is a talent, take him in." In recent years, we have lost a lot of manpower, and we are in urgent need of fresh blood. The woman smiled charmingly and said, "Well, I'll deal with the things at hand and go to Jiangnan City right away. Then we'll see whether his magic or my fox hypnosis is more powerful." The old man said with a serious expression, "Girl, although you are talented, you can't use fox hypnosis indiscriminately. Otherwise, if the other party's spiritual power is far beyond yours, the consequences will be unimaginable." The woman smiled and said, "It's not unimaginable. At worst, I'll fall in love with him. Anyway, I'm in my 20s, and I haven't had a boyfriend yet." The old man reprimanded, "Nonsense, the other party can use the spiritual magic to such a high level. He may be older than me. Are you willing to marry an old man?" The woman giggled and said, "I see, Grandpa. If the other party looks as ugly as you, I won't use it. Besides, if I want fox hypnosis to backfire, the other party's spiritual power must be more than 10 times mine. I guess such a person hasn't been born yet." After that, she ran out of the room with a smile. "Girl, how am I ugly? Your grandpa was the face of our family." The old man was so angry that his beard was jumping, but his eyes were full of doting on the woman. In the Lin's villa, because the little fellow's condition was very unstable, Qin Haodong did not let her go to kindergarten. Because such a big thing happened in the Lin family, Lin Ziyuan and Lin Momo rushed to the Lin's group together, and Qin Haodong took care of the little fellow at home alone. The father and daughter played at home all morning. Near noon, the little fellow said, "Papa, I'm hungry. Take me out to eat delicious food." Hearing what Tang Tang said, Qin Haodong suddenly remembered that he had promised Qi Wan to celebrate her aunt's birthday at noon. If he stood her up again, this woman would fight with him. "Tang Tang, let's go to eat delicious food with Aunt Wan at noon today." After Qin Haodong said that, he quickly took out his mobile phone and dialed Qi Wan's number. Seeing that it was noon again, Qin Haodong had not done anything. Qi Wan was sitting in front of the computer angrily. Just then, the phone rang. Looking at the caller ID and seeing that it was Qin Haodong, she immediately became happy and said, "I thought you were going to stand me up again. How could I dare? I dare not offend Aunt Wan." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "What do you want to eat at noon?" "My treat." Qi Wan said, "Let's eat Western food. I haven't had steak for a long time." After the awakening of the holy body, the little fellow had excellent hearing. She clearly heard the conversation between the 2 people and immediately shouted happily, "Great! Great! I haven't had steak for a long time. I want to eat fruit salad." Qi Wan originally wanted to eat with Qin Haodong. After hearing the little fellow's shout, she was slightly surprised and asked, "Didn't you go to kindergarten today?" "Tang Tang is not feeling well today. I'll take care of her at home." Is it okay for the three of us to eat together? Chi Wan said, of course, I like you the most. Aunt Wan, I like you too. The little fellow shouted into the microphone. Tang Tang, come on, I'll take you to eat delicious food. Chi Wan really liked the little fellow very much. She even dreamed of giving birth to such a lovely little girl in the future. Half an hour later, Qin Haodong and Chi Wan walked into a Western restaurant with the little fellow. Because the three of them were so good-looking, a handsome man, a beautiful woman, and a super cute little fellow immediately attracted many people's attention. The three of them chose a private room and began to sit down and enjoy lunch together. Qin Haodong first filled the little fellow's drink, then raised his glass to Chi Wan and said, "Come on, let's have a toast. Happy birthday to Aunt Wan, Hearing Qin Haodong mention this, Chi Wan's cheeks turned red, but she still raised her glass and touched it. Before she took back her glass, the little fellow raised her drink and shouted, and me, I also want to wish Aunt Wan a happy birthday." Qin Haodong and Chi Wan were both embarrassed, but they still touched their glasses with the little fellows, and then the three of them took a sip together. However, the embarrassment did not end there. After the little fellow put down her drink, she held Chi Wan's arm and asked, "Aunt Wan, where is Aunt Wan, Why doesn't she come to eat with us on her birthday?" Due to the effect of alcohol and embarrassment, Chi Wan's cheeks were already red, as if they were about to drip blood. The little fellow continued to say, "Aunt Wan, why don't you prepare a cake for Aunt Wan's birthday? Shouldn't we blow out candles and eat cake on birthdays?" Qin Haodong was convulsing with laughter. Chi Wan glared at him and said, "You're talking nonsense. Explain." Well. Qin Haodong suddenly couldn't laugh. How could he explain such a difficult question? After thinking for a long time, he finally said, "Tang Tang, Aunt Wan's relative comes once a month, and now she has left. We said celebration just to show respect, so there's no need to prepare a cake." Oh. The little fellow nodded as if she understood, then raised her head and asked, "Papa, do you have Aunt Wan, Puff, Chi Wan spat out the red wine in her mouth. Fortunately, she reacted quickly and did not directly spit on Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong said awkwardly, "Papa doesn't even have a mother. How can I have Aunt Wan, After that, he quickly put a piece of pizza on the little fellow's plate and blocked her little mouth. Finally, she barely passed the test. After lunch, the three of them went to the amusement park together. Chi Wan rarely went out because of her illness, so she had a great time playing with the little fellow. They didn't leave the amusement park until the sun went down. Lin Momo and Lin Ziyuan went to deal with Lin Pingchao's funeral and would come back very late. Qin Haodong directly took the little fellow to Daddy Security Company. Chapter 175. Qin Haodong drove the car back, and Chi Weiner sat in the passenger seat with the little fellow in her arms. In the night, she looked at the man driving next to her, and then looked at the little fellow in her arms. A strange feeling rose in her heart. During these years of illness, she spent most of her time hiding in the house alone. Like ordinary girls, she also fantasized about finding a handsome boyfriend, wearing a beautiful wedding dress, and having a lovely baby. But at that time, she had been living a life that was neither human nor ghost. All of this could only exist in her imagination. Now she finally became a normal person, and everything in front of her was similar to her dream. Unfortunately, her daughter was not hers, and her man was not hers yet. Just as Chi Weiner was immersed in her fantasy, the little fellow suddenly asked in a childish voice, "Auntie Weiner, do you like my papa?" "Ah. Oh. No." Chi Weiner came to her senses, and a little panic flashed on her face. "Auntie Weiner is lying. I can see it. You look at Papa the same way as Mama." The little fellow said, "Auntie Weiner, why don't you be my mama? Qin Haodong smiled slightly. His good daughter began to find a wife for him again. Qi Weiner glanced at Qin Haodong with a complicated expression. When she didn't know how to answer, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the car and stood in the middle of the road. It was an old Taoist, who seemed to be in his 60s or 70s. He had a big beard and eyebrows, wore a grey Taoist robe, and carried a sword on his back. He looked like an immortal, and his costume was not much different from that of the martial arts films. Because the old Taoist appeared so suddenly, Qin Haodong hurriedly stepped on the brake. In a harsh braking sound, the Honda just stopped close to the old Taoist's legs. Although a traffic accident was avoided, Qin Haodong was still very angry. He rolled down the window and shouted, "Are you shooting or looking for death?" The old Taoist suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Qin Haodong. Although the road was extremely remote and there were no street lights, Qin Haodong and Qi Weiner still keenly felt a flash of light in the old Taoist's eyes. Before they could react, the old Taoist suddenly kicked out. This kick happened to kick the front cover of the Honda. With a loud bang, the front of the Honda collapsed from the kick, and then the whole car flew 7 or 8 meters, flipped a few times, and landed on the side of the hill. Both Qin Haodong and Qi Wan-er were dizzy from the fall. Fortunately, they were protected by their cultivation, so they were not hurt too much. The little fellow was always tightly protected in Qi Wan-er's arms, so she was also unscathed. "Not good, we've encountered an enemy." At this time, Qin Haodong realized that the appearance of the old Taoist was not a coincidence. He was coming for them. He hurriedly kicked open the deformed door, and then suddenly jumped out. Qi Weiner also raised her hand to tear open the car door and climbed out with the little fellow. Outside the car, the old priest kicked the Honda car away and walked over slowly. "Who are you?" Qin Haodong asked. His expression was unprecedentedly dignified. With the strength of the spirit, he could see through the cultivation of warriors at a higher level than himself. The old Taoist in front of him had reached the peak of the 9th level of inner power. He was only one step away from the supreme power realm. No wonder he could kick the car away. His current cultivation had not broken through to the inner power realm. It was definitely not a good thing to face such a powerful enemy. Even if he joined forces with Qi Wan-er, they would never be able to compete with the old Taoist. The old Taoist walked to the front of the two people. He was not in a hurry to fight. He said, "I'm Dao Tong. Dao Tong, is there any conflict between us?" Qin Haodong asked. Dao Tong said with killing intent, "Boy, the ghost slave I spent 10 years to cultivate was destroyed by you. Do you think there is any conflict between us?" As soon as he said this, Qin Haodong and Qi Wan-er were shocked. It turned out that the old Taoist was the evil cultivator who planted the ghost fetus. It was true that one could not judge a book by its cover. The old Taoist looked like a master, but he practiced such evil spells. Now that they knew the identity of the old Taoist, they knew that today's fight to the death was inevitable. Qi Wan-er sent the little fellow to Qin Haodong and said to the old Taoist with killing intent, "Ox nose, is it the ghost fetus you planted in me?" The old Taoist didn't answer Qi Weiner's question, but glanced at her from head to toe. Then he clicked his tongue and said, "Perfect, it's really perfect. A perfect ghost slave like you is much better than what I expected. It's your honor to be my ghost slave. Now go back with me. I promise you can break through the supreme power realm within 3 years. Bah, you are the ghost slave. Your whole family are ghost slaves. Today I'll fight with you." Qi Wan had lived a ghost life for 10 years. At this time, she was full of deep hatred for the old Taoist. She shouted and rushed to the old Taoist. At the same time, Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone from his pocket and put it in the little fellow's hand. He said eagerly, "Tang Tang, run quickly and call Mom." "Papa, why should I run?" the little fellow asked with a puzzled face. This old Taoist is a very powerful bad guy. You must not be caught by him. Papa and Auntie Wan, are going to deal with him. Run quickly. Qin Haodong did not have any hope of defeating the old Taoist. He knew very well how big the gap between the 9th level of overt power and the 9th level of covert power was. There was no hope of escape, let alone victory. So he stayed himself to buy time for the little fellow to escape. But Papa, aren't you specialized in beating bad guys? Qin Haodong had left an omnipotent impression in the little fellow's heart in the past, so she did not feel fear at the moment. This bad guy is very powerful. Run quickly, or it will be too late. Qin Haodong knew that time was limited, and he had no time to talk too much with the little fellow. He pushed her back, then turned around and rushed to the old Taoist. If he joined forces with Qi Wan, they might be able to hold on for a while. If they were defeated by the old Taoist one by one, they would die faster. Qi Wan's body was extremely strong, and her hands were sharper than knives, so she did not use any weapons and directly grabbed at the old Taoist's face. At the same time, Qin Haodong rubbed his body from behind the old Taoist and punched him in the back. Although it was the first time for the two people to attack together, they cooperated very well. In the face of the fierce offensive of the two people, the old Taoist showed a touch of disdain at the corner of his mouth. How dare a grain of rice shine? He flicked his left sleeve gently and directly met Qi Wan's fierce claws. Under the infusion of genuine qi, the soft sleeve was as hard as a steel plate, and it abruptly blocked Qi Wan's claw that could break gold and stone. Then he stretched out his right hand and slapped Qin Wan's lower abdomen, which directly sent her flying. The old Taoist's movement seemed light, but it was amazingly fast. After all this was done, he punched back, just to meet Qin Haodong's fist. With a bang, the two fists met. The old Taoist's body did not move, but Qin Haodong, like a fired cannonball, was shocked to fly out more than 10 meters, and the genuine qi in his body was shattered. After landing, his legs went soft, and he flopped to the ground. No matter how hard the two people fought, the gap in cultivation was too big. The old Taoist was almost a half-step to the supreme power realm, which was not something the two people could compete with. The old Taoist didn't look at Qin Haodong again, but looked at Qi Wan and nodded with satisfaction. Good, you are worthy of being the ghost fetus selected by the old Taoist. The ghost slave refined is really extraordinary. You can even bear the palm of the old Taoist with 30% of my power. Your cultivation is also very fast. You will soon enter the second level of covert power. Qin Haodong got up from the ground and glanced around. He did not see the shadow of the little fellow, so he was relieved. No matter what happened to him, as long as the little fellow was fine. The old Taoist said to Qi Wan, don't try to resist anymore. Your current cultivation is still too low. Go back with the old Taoist quickly. When the best ghost slave is refined, even the strong of the supreme power realm will run away when they see you. Bah! I will not go back with you to be a walking dead. Qi Wan said angrily, you dare to attack me. Aren't you afraid of the revenge of our Qi family? The old Taoist sneered and said, the Qi family is really strong, and there are many masters of the supreme power realm, but what can they do? I am an idle person. Where can they find me? Moreover, as long as I refine you into the best ghost slave, even if you are an expert in the supreme power realm, you can only be defeated by me, Dao Tong. Damn you, I will fight with you. Seeing that she couldn't scare the old Taoist even with her family background, Qi Wan could only choose to fight hard. She shouted and rushed to the old Taoist again. This time, she only attacked and did not defend. She used a desperate move. Qin Haodong took out a dagger and joined the fight. However, the gap between their cultivation was too big. Neither of them could stand 3 moves. Qi Wan was hit by the old Taoist Tao Tong and fell to the ground, vomiting blood. Qin Haodong was also shocked by the palm again. "You little ant, now you know how powerful I am." The old Taoist looked at Qin Haodong with a sneer and said, "Boy, you dare to ruin my good plan. Now I will send you to hell." After that, the old Taoist's figure flashed, turned into a flash of lightning and came to Qin Haodong, and suddenly punched Qin Haodong in the chest. This punch had used 100% of Tao Tong's strength, and the speed was even faster. Qin Haodong had no time to respond. He felt like his chest was hit by a train, and a huge force came to him. If he had resisted it with his cultivation alone, this punch would have been enough to shatter all his internal organs. But at this moment, an invisible force came from his waist and resolved most of Dao Tong's punch, ensuring that his internal organs were not injured. But even so, Qin Haodong's body suddenly flew out, hit a big tree next to him, and then fell to the ground. "Hey!" The old Taoist showed a look of surprise. He did not expect that the young man could withstand his full blow, and did not even spit blood. "Boy, you have some skills, but you must die today." Tao Tong said as he stepped to Qin Haodong's side, stepped on his shoulder, and then swung his right fist and hit him hard in the chest again. A muffled bang resounded through the night sky, and the old Taoist's fist hit Qin Haodong's chest firmly. However, it was once again dissolved by the invisible force, and his whole body had been smashed to the ground. Chapter 176. The saddest thing was that he didn't even have the ability to resist. He couldn't run even if he wanted to. He could only wait for the next punch. Sure enough, Tao Tong became more and more surprised. "Boy, let me see how many punches you can take." After that, he used all his strength and raised his fist, ready to hit Qin Haodong's face again. Seeing that Qin Haodong's life was hanging by a thread, Qi Wan's eyes were red and she wanted to rush over and fight with Tao Tong. However, she was too injured. After struggling a few times, she could barely stand up, but it was too late to rush over. At this moment, a young figure came out from behind the tree and rushed desperately to the old Taoist. "Bad guy, let go of my papa." It turned out to be the little fellow who rushed over. She did not leave just now, but hid behind a tree. Now seeing her dearest papa being pressed to the ground by the old Taoist and beaten fiercely, she no longer cared about anything else and rushed to the old Taoist madly. After seeing her, Qi Wan hurriedly cried, "Tang Tang, don't go over, it's dangerous." When Qin Haodong heard the voice of the little fellow, he was shocked and quickly shouted, "Tang Tang, don't come over, run. Papa, I'll help you." If you could see it, at this time, the little fellow's childish face had a resolute look, and her eyes flashed with madness. She had already realized that the papa that she had obtained with great difficulty was about to be lost. After practicing Xiantian Heart Sutra for more than half a month, coupled with the awakening of Suzaku's sacred body, the little fellow ran at full speed to the extreme. In the blink of an eye, she rushed to the back of the old Taoist. Tao Tong naturally noticed Tang Tang, but he didn't pay attention to such a little fellow. He was ready to continue to attack Qin Haodong, but at this moment, a burning feeling came from behind. The little fellow came behind Tao Tong, opened her mouth, and a yellow flame suddenly shot to Tao Tong. Qin Haodong was now only at the 9th level of overt power, and the seal imposed on the little fellow was very weak. Tang Tang broke through the seal in excitement, and the flame of Suzaku's sacred body immediately sprayed out. The old Taoist never dreamed that such a little child would set fire to himself. He was immediately swallowed by the flames. With a scream, he slapped the little fellow away, and then desperately rolled on the ground, trying to put out the flames on his body. Tang Tang. Seeing that the little fellow was beaten by Dao Tong, Qi Wan let out a cry. Qin Haodong jumped up from the ground like crazy and rushed to Tang Tang. Although Dao Tong did not use his full strength, the little fellow was too small. After being hit, it immediately hit a nearby rock like a cannonball. The rock was extremely sharp, and if the little fellow hit it, it would die. Tang tang. Qin Haodong shouted at the top of his lungs and ran desperately to the little fellow. However, the distance was too far, and it was too late to save her. Seeing that the cute little face of the little fellow was getting closer and closer to the rock, Qi Wan couldn't bear to see it anymore and fell to the ground. Qin Haodong also stopped, his eyes flashing with madness. Just when both of them were desperate, a dark shadow suddenly flashed from behind the rock and reached out to take the little fellow in his arms. Tang tang, my tang tang. Qin Haodong experienced from despair to surprise. Seeing that the little fellow was saved, he ran to this side and held his daughter in his arms. Tang tang, are you all right, Tang tang? Qin Haodong was horrified to find that the little fellow had no movement. He quickly reached out and grabbed Tang Tang's pulse. After a while, he finally felt relieved. It turned out that the little fellow was too emotional and had just used the flame of Suzaku's sacred body, which caused her body to fall into a deep sleep. Fortunately, Suzaku's sacred body had been fully awakened and had a strong defense ability. If it was an ordinary child, it would have been killed by Dao Tong's palm. After confirming that his daughter was safe, Qin Haodong finally calmed down. If something really happened to the little fellow, he would die with Dao Tong at the cost of his body and soul. He turned to look at the dark shadow who had saved the little fellow. It was a very beautiful woman. It was strange that she looked very dignified, but she gave people a feeling of charm. Thank you for saving my daughter, Qin Haodong said to the woman. It's nothing. It's nothing. The woman's voice was very pleasant. Qin Haodong said to the woman, you'd better go, or it will be very troublesome. The reason why he didn't run away was that he couldn't leave Qi Wan alone, and it was impossible for him to escape from Dao Tong's hands in his current state. But the woman in black was different. She had nothing to do with him and Qi Wan, and her cultivation had reached the level of covert power. If she ran now, she would probably escape from Dao Tong's hands. The woman said, why run? I can help you. You're no match for him at all. Qin Haodong said, turning his head to look in the direction of Dao Tong. He was shocked at first glance. It turned out that the flame on Dao Tong's body was not the same as the ordinary red flame, but a golden yellow, which looked extremely dazzling in the dark. Ordinary people might not be able to see the difference of the flame, but Qin Haodong knew very well that this was the color of the innate fire. In the cultivation world, there were 7 levels of flames. The lowest was naturally the most common mortal fire, and then the innate fire. When the little fellow's Suzaku's sacred body had just awakened yesterday, it was still the mortal fire. He didn't expect it to be promoted to the innate fire so soon. No wonder she fell asleep. It turned out that the level had been upgraded. Although the innate fire was only 1 level higher than the mortal fire, it was countless times more powerful. Not only was it hot, but it couldn't be extinguished by ordinary methods. No wonder Dao Tong hadn't put out the flame on his body for so long. Dao Tong's clothes, hair, and beard were all turned to ashes. He also found that the flame on his body was different. No matter how he patted it, it would not be extinguished. But after all, he was an expert infinitely close to the supreme power realm. After calming down, he immediately had a way to deal with it. He took a deep breath and released the genuine qi in his body, making a genuine qi isolation layer between the flame and his skin. With this isolation layer, the innate fire became a rootless fire and soon extinguished itself. But at this time, Dao Tong was also extremely miserable. His bald head turned into a roasted egg, and all his clothes were burned clean. But every inch of his skin was burned black, making people feel that he was not exposed. As a strong man at the 9th level of the covert power, Dao Tong had never suffered such grievances. Although the flame outside his body was extinguished at this time, the fire inside his body was burning, and the amazing killing intent soared unprecedentedly. He picked up the sword that had fallen to the ground and pointed to Qin Haodong, the little fellow, and the woman beside him. You all have to die today. Roasted sparrow. You're talking big. Let me see what you can do. The woman in black came here later. She didn't know how powerful Dao Tong was, so she rushed up before Qin Haodong could stop her. When the woman came to Dao Tong, there was already a purple soft sword in her hand. The light of the sword looked extremely gorgeous in the night sky. With a flick of her wrist, the purple soft sword shot to Dao Tong's shoulder like a purple lightning. Obviously, she still had some reservations and didn't kill him immediately. But Dao Tong was now in a state of madness. He had nowhere to vent his anger, so he fiercely slashed the long sword in his hand. When the two swords met, there was a crisp sound. The sword in Dao Tong's hand was directly cut in two by the purple light. No wonder the woman in black was so confident. It turned out that the soft sword in her hand was a big sword that could cut iron like mud. Dao Tong didn't expect his sword to be cut in two, but he was an experienced master after all. After a slight surprise, he was calm in the face of danger. He threw away the hilt in his hand and sidestepped the woman's sword. Then he came to the woman in black like a ghost and raised his hand to grab the woman's wrist. The woman had thought that by relying on the power of the purple sword, she could beat Dao Tong back. She didn't expect him to be so powerful. Before she could react, the purple sword in her hand was already in Dao Tong's hand. As Dao Tong grabbed the sword, he slapped the woman in black's chest with his left hand. The woman in black quickly dodged sideways, but her speed was still a little slower than Dao Tong's palm. Although she avoided her chest, she was hit in the shoulder and flew out like a kite with a broken string. Fortunately, Qin Haodong rushed over and reached out to support her, so she didn't fall to the ground. After Dao Tong succeeded in one move, a ferocious look flashed across his face. He shouted to Qin Haodong fiercely, "Boy, take this little beast to hell with you." After that, he waved the purple soft sword in his hand and was about to attack Qin Haodong. Just then, someone shouted, "Dao Tong, stop it, or I'll die in front of you." Dao Tong turned his head and saw that it was Qi Wan, who spoke. At this time, she grabbed the dagger that Qin Haodong had just knocked down and pressed it tightly against her neck. Dao Tong sneered and said, "Little girl, are you crazy? You're in cahoots with me. How dare you threaten me with your life?" Qi Wan said, "Don't you want me to be a ghost slave with you? If you let them go, I'll go with you. If you don't let them go, I'll cut off my head now and see how you can become a ghost slave." Seeing that Qi Wan was going to make such a big sacrifice for him, Qin Haodong exclaimed, "Wan, that's absolutely impossible. You know, once you become a ghost slave, you will become a walking corpse for life and never be reincarnated." Qi Wan smiled sadly and said, "Why not? My life was saved by you. If it weren't for you, I would have become a walking corpse long ago. Now I'll give it back to you as a repayment for saving my life." This, Qin Haodong wanted to refute but had nothing to say. Qi Wan suddenly laughed and said, "In fact, I'm very satisfied. Although it's not a long time, I've finally lived a normal life. Wherever I go, people envy my appearance. I've had my period like a normal woman. The only regret is that I haven't tasted love yet. Qin Haodong, you're the first man who walked into my heart after I became a woman. I wanted to pursue you, but unfortunately I don't have the chance now. If there's a next life, I'll marry you and have a lovely daughter like Tang Tang." Speaking of this, she looked cold and said, "Take Tang Tang away, hurry up." Qin Haodong was moved. He didn't expect this girl to love him so deeply that she could become a walking corpse for him. At this moment, Dao Tong cried with a ferocious face, "You want to go? Did I agree? You're all going to die today, none of you will live. How dare you?" Qi Wan snapped, "Aren't you afraid that I'll cut off my head?" Chapter 177. Qi Wan looked lost. She didn't expect her last trump card to be useless. Qin Haodong said to her, "Let's die together with this ox nose. Do you dare?" "Of course, I'm willing to die with you." Qi Wan looked at Qin Haodong with burning eyes, full of affection. Qin Haodong said decisively, "In this case, let's die together with the ox nose." As the reincarnated Emperor Green would, he certainly had a final trump card, which was to detonate his spirit. However, his spirit was too powerful. Once it was detonated, no life within 100 meters could survive. Its power was comparable to a small nuclear bomb. The price was also huge. After detonating his spirit, his body and soul would be destroyed, and he would not even have the chance to be reincarnated. Hearing the conversation between the two men, Dao Tong didn't care at all. He stood there and didn't rush to do anything. At this time, his mentality was like a cat catching a mouse. He wanted to humiliate the opponent and then kill him, so as to eliminate his inner hatred. And in his view, Qin Haodong, who had not even reached the covert power, would not pose a threat to him. Qin Haodong ignored Dao Tong and turned to the woman in black and said, "I'm responsible for entangling this old man. You leave with my daughter." Although his way of self-detonating spirit was powerful, it also did not distinguish between friend and foe. Once detonated, no one could survive, so he wanted the woman in black to leave with the little fellow. Moreover, the woman's left shoulder was injured, which did not have much impact on her escape. He thought that the woman in black came to help because she saw injustice. Now that she had seen Dao Tong's power, she would be happy to leave. After all, no one wanted to die. Unexpectedly, she shook her head and said, "I won't go." Qin Haodong said anxiously, "Why not? If you don't go, everyone will die." The woman in black said, "My purple lightning sword is still in the hands of the old man. I promised Grandpa that if the sword exists, I will die. If I don't get the sword back, I will not leave anyway." Qin Haodong cried, "Are you out of your mind? A broken sword is not as important as a human life." Although this purple soft sword looked good, it was not a magic weapon in Qin Haodong's eyes. "No, I have to get the sword back." The woman in black said stubbornly, "Besides, I can't leave you guys alone." Dao Tong grinned and said, "In that case, you can take this sword with you first." After saying that, she raised her hand, and the purple soft sword turned into a purple light that shot towards the black-clothed woman. The speed of the purple flash sword was so fast that it was too late for Qin Haodong to stop it. Just as the sword was about to pierce through the woman's throat, a big hand suddenly appeared out of thin air. Two rough fingers clamped the tip of the purple flash sword. Qin Haodong was startled. This person appeared too suddenly, and his speed was simply too fast. In addition, Dao Tong's cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of covert power. He was able to catch his sword with 2 fingers. Why was his cultivation so terrifying? At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on the owner of the big hand. He was a tall Taoist, but his robe was too ragged, his hair was messy, and he was carrying a big wine gourd on his back. He looked a little crazy. After catching the purple flash sword, the old Taoist reached out and grabbed the hilt. He turned back and handed it to the black-clothed woman. "Little girl, look after your sword this time. Don't lose it again." After looking at the crazy old Taoist, Qin Haodong was shocked again. With his powerful spirit, he could easily see through warriors who were 1 level higher than him, such as Dao Tong, who had reached the 9th level of covert power. But in the face of this crazy old Taoist, he couldn't see anything. There was only one answer. The crazy old Taoist's cultivation had broken through the supreme power realm. After handing over the sword, the crazy old Taoist smiled at Qin Haodong and said, "I'm sorry, little guy. I'm a little late and scared you." Qin Haodong didn't understand what the old Taoist meant. At this time, Dao Tong cried, "Dao Xian, why are you still alive? Why did you come here to meddle in my business? The crazy old Taoist looked back at Dao Tong and said, Younger brother, why are you still so stubborn after so many years? Can't you see that you have fallen into the devil's way? Dao Tong shouted hoarsely, I don't care. Even if I become a devil, I will become the most powerful devil. Then I will go back and destroy the Qingyi school. The crazy old Taoist sighed and said, Younger brother, come back with me. Reflect on your mistakes and wash away the sins you have committed for so many years. Dao Xian, don't think I'm afraid of you. Today, I will fight with you to the death. Dao Tong's words were full of momentum. When others thought he was going to fight, the old Taoist suddenly changed direction and rushed directly to Qi Wan. This guy wanted to grab Qi Wan and escape together. Younger brother, stop. Dao Xian took a gentle step forward. Although it was only one step, he suddenly came to Qi Wan's side and hit Dao Tong with his palm. Dao Tong had no way to dodge, so he could only hit Dao Xian with his palm. With a bang, the violent airflow swept the scene. Dao Xian did not move at all, but Dao Tong flew out more than 10 meters like a broken sack. This scene was a copy of Dao Tong's shaking of Qin Haodong just now, but the roles were reversed. It was Dao Tong who was shaken. As soon as Dao Tong's feet landed on the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Dao Xian's gentle palm had seriously injured him. He raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, pointed to Dao Xian and cried, Your cultivation has improved again. Dao Xian said, Younger brother, your aptitude was originally above me, but unfortunately, the devil in your heart is too strong. Don't tell me this. When I become a ghost slave, I will destroy the Qingyi school. After Dao Tong finished speaking, his dark body was covered with a cloud of blood mist. The scope of the blood mist was getting larger and larger, and his whole body was directly illuminated. Blood shadow. Younger brother, you have even practiced this kind of strange magic. You really don't repent. Dao Xian said as he stepped out again. He came to Dao Tong with the magic of shrinking the ground into an inch and slapped him hard with his palm. There was a scream, and then the blood mist slowly disappeared, but Dao Tong's figure also disappeared, leaving only a pool of blood in place. Qi Wan stepped forward and asked, Taoist priest, is he dead or has he run away? The crazy old Taoist said, he has run away. I didn't expect younger brother to be so profound that he has even practiced the evil magic of blood shadow. Run away. Qi Wan's face suddenly became ugly. She was a ghost slave made by Dao Tong. As long as Dao Tong was not dead, he would definitely come to her for trouble. As if reading her mind, the crazy old Taoist said, Don't worry. The evil magic of blood shadow will be greatly damaged as long as it is used once. It can't be recovered without 3 or 5 years. Besides, my palm just now was not in vain. Now even if Dao Tong reappears here, he will be no match for you. Hearing the old Taoist's words, everyone was relieved. Otherwise, no one could sleep well with such a powerful enemy eyeing them covetously. Qin Haodong asked, Taoist priest, why do you call him younger brother? What is the origin of this evil old Taoist? It's a long story. In fact, it's all my mistake. Dao Xian sighed and said, Dao Tong used to be my younger brother. At that time, we were all disciples of the Qingyi school. I just entered the school 1 year earlier than him, so I was his older brother. At that time, there were only 2 brothers of the same age, so we were very close. He was very talented in martial arts. Although I entered the school 1 year earlier than him, his cultivation was much faster than mine. I had not reached the 9th level of overt power, but he had broken through to the level of covert power. He was a genius among geniuses in our whole school. It was also because of this that he grew the devil in his heart. He was too eager for quick success and instant benefits. When he was trying to reach the Supreme Power Realm, he not only failed to enter the Supreme Power Realm, but also suffered a great loss of vitality. His cultivation suddenly fell back to the level of overt power realm. Dao Xian sighed again, as if feeling sorry for Dao Tong. Then he continued, in fact, if Dao Tong could calm down and practice again, it would not take too long for him to reach the supreme power realm again with his aptitude. Unfortunately, he was too proud and eager for quick success and instant benefits. He was eager to improve his cultivation when his mind was unstable. Finally, he was stuck in the bottleneck of the supreme power realm and could not break through. Although my aptitude was average, I was more steady when I practiced and never impetuous. More than a decade ago, I finally stepped into the supreme power realm. Because of this, Dao Tong, who had been stuck in the supreme power realm, was greatly stimulated and fell into the devil's way from that time. By chance, I found that he secretly practiced the 5 elements ghost refining method, an evil cultivation method. Although the Qingyi school was not famous, it was definitely a decent school. After learning that Dao Tong practiced the evil cultivation method, I did not dare to hide it and reported it to my master. My master was furious and asked me to abolish Dao Tong's cultivation and then drive him out of the school. But I grew up with Dao Tong and always regarded him as my younger brother. How could I have the heart to abolish him? So I made my own decision. Although he was expelled from the Qingyi school, I did not abolish his cultivation, hoping that he could repent. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "You are wrong. This kind of person has been possessed by the devil. How can he repent so easily?" Yes, I was confused for a moment. I didn't see it as clearly as you. Dao Xian said, Dao Tong left our Qingyi school. Without the shackles of the rules, he became more unscrupulous. He began to find people to plant evil fetuses, and this little girl was one of the victims. Later, my master was furious when he got the news. He asked me to leave the school to catch Dao Tong. I could not return to the school until I cleaned up the school. Qin Haodong said, "Your master is really confused. He knows that you can't kill Dao Tong, but he still sent you to catch him. How is that possible?" Dao Xian said awkwardly, "Little brother, you are right. In any case, I can't kill Dao Tong. I have caught him twice, but under his bitter begging, I finally let him go. I hope he can turn over a new leaf." Qin Haodong said, "The result is that he didn't change, and it didn't work at all." Dao Xian embarrassedly said, "I have always wanted to capture him back to the sect and imprison him, to make him face the wall and reflect on his wrongdoings, but then he hid somewhere and did not appear for a long time, so I have not been able to find him. This time I found him in Jiangnan and hurried over. It was not convenient to do it in the city, so I wanted to find a suitable opportunity to catch him. I didn't expect that he would run away when I got a pot of wine. When I found him again, it was just now. Ugh! That jug of wine of yours almost cost us our lives." Facing Dao Xian, Qin Haodong really didn't know what to say for a while. His cultivation was so high, but he was so unreliable. Chapter 178. No. Although Dao Xian's request was somewhat unexpected, Qin Haodong refused without hesitation. Dao Xian really liked the little fellow's aptitude. He thought that Qin Haodong refused because he didn't know his ability, so he quickly said, "Young man, you may not know my cultivation. I have reached the 2nd level of the supreme power realm. Your daughter will not suffer a loss if she is my disciple." The 2nd level of the supreme power realm. After Dao Xian finished speaking, the woman in black and Qi Wan both showed a shocked look. It should be known that martial arts in Wuxia were declining. Those who could reach the supreme power realm were strong and could even set up their own sections. But this old Taoist had reached the 2nd level of the supreme power realm, which was absolutely admirable. Now the old Taoist took the initiative to accept the little fellow as a disciple, which was definitely a blessing from his previous life. In their opinion, Qin Haodong would definitely agree immediately. After all, This was an opportunity that ordinary people couldn't get. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong still shook his head and said, "No, Tang Tang is still young. I have no intention of letting her apprentice." "Are you kidding?" He was the Emperor Greenwood. Although his cultivation had not yet recovered to its peak state, the cultivation methods and cultivation experience he had mastered were unparalleled. Moreover, the second level of the supreme power realm was really nothing in his eyes. When he was in the cultivation world, his servants who guarded the cave and cleaned the house were all cultivators in the gold core stage. Moreover, there was a great difference between cultivation and ordinary martial arts. When a cultivator at the second level of the gold core stage fought against a cultivator at the second level of the supreme power realm, he could definitely beat his opponent to the ground without any strength to fight back. The woman in black and Qi Wan both widened their eyes. If Tang Tang was their daughter, she would definitely agree immediately. But Qin Haodong refused a supreme power without hesitation. They really wondered if he had just been beaten silly by Dao Tong. Dao Xian was also quite surprised and said unwillingly, "Little brother, would you like to think about it again?" Qin Haodong said, "No need to think about it. You'd better solve the problem of Dao Tong first, and then we'll discuss it." He also felt that it was against common sense to directly refuse Dao Xian, so he pushed the time to catch Dao Tong. With Dao Xian's indecisive character, he didn't know when he could solve Dao Tong. Dao Xian sighed and said, "That's right. Even if this little girl takes me as her master now, she can't enter the Qingyi school. I'll come to you after I've completely solved Dao Tong and returned to the Qingyi school." Qin Haodong didn't say anything more. As long as he was given some time to recover his strength, even if it was only 1/10 of his previous life strength, it would be enough to sweep away all the major sections. At that time, naturally, no one would dare to accept his daughter as an apprentice. Since the matter was settled, Dao Yen floated away, quickly disappearing into the night. Soon, there was a roar of motor in the night. Several SUVs stopped on the side of the road. It was Zhang Tiniu who had received Qin Haodong's order. Qin Haodong came to Qi Wan, thinking of the confession of true feelings in the face of life and death. Both of them could not help but show a trace of unnaturalness. Especially Qi Wan, she just thought that she would not be able to survive today, so she told Qin Haodong what was on her mind. Now that the danger had been solved, her white cheeks were so red that it seemed that blood was about to drip out. "You go back with Tiniu first, and I'll see you in a few days." Qin Haodong didn't know how to face this girl. On the one hand, Qi Wan was willing to sacrifice her life for him, and she was even willing to follow Dao Tong to be a ghost slave, which showed her deep love. On the other hand, the earth was not like the cultivation world, where there were too many secular restrictions. He already had Lin Momo and the little fellow, so he naturally had to be careful about emotional problems. Qi Wan responded softly and followed Zhang Tiniu to get in the car and go back together. Qin Haodong turned back to the woman in black and said, "Thank you for saving my daughter. I still don't know your name." "My name is Hu Shaoxian, you can also call me Shaoxian." The woman in black said. "Good name." Qin Haodong said, "Miss Hu, where do you live? I'll send you back now, and then treat the injury on your arm." Hu Shaoxian was the little fellow's savior, and Qin Haodong was full of gratitude to her. "I just arrived in Jiangnan province, and I haven't found a place to live yet." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "Then you come home with me first and treat the injury on your arm." Hu Shaoxian nodded and followed Qin Haodong to an off-road vehicle left by Zhang Tiniu. Back at Lin's villa, Qin Haodong handed the little fellow to Lin Momo and briefly told her what happened tonight. He told her not to worry, that Tang Tang just fell into a deep sleep and would recover tomorrow. After that, he took Hu Shaoxian back to his home. After entering the living room and turning on the light, Qin Haodong found that the girl was more beautiful than he had imagined, and there was a kind of coquettish charm from her bones, which was very lovable. Qin Haodong said, "Take off your coat." I want to see your injury. Hu Shaoxian looked up at him and said, my left arm was broken by the old Taoist. Help me take off my clothes. There was nothing wrong with this sentence, and Hu Shaoxian said it very solemnly, but it brought infinite temptation. He calmed his mind, reached out to unbutton Hu Shaoxian's coat one by one, and then slowly took it off. Hu Shaoxian had very few clothes inside. After taking off her coat, there was only a pink suspender vest left, which combined with her milk-like delicate skin, which was very attractive. There was a big black handprint on his left shoulder, which was as smooth as water. It seemed that Taoist Dao Tong's palm was really heavy. Qin Haodong reached out to feel Hu Shaoxian's pulse. The bone of her left arm was indeed broken, but it was not too serious. Bear with it for a while. It may hurt a little. Qin Haodong reached out and grabbed Hu Shaoxian's left shoulder. With a click, the broken bone was reconnected, and then he used greenwood genuine qi to help her comb the injured meridians. 2 or 3 minutes later, the black handprint on Hu Shaoxian's shoulder slowly disappeared. Qin Haodong applied a layer of muscle and bone-breaking ointment to her and said, well, don't fight with others for 3 days, and don't lift heavy things. Hu Shaoxian felt a coolness on her shoulder, and then the piercing pain disappeared. She moved her arm and said in surprise, it's really healed. I haven't seen such magical medical skills. You deserve to be the medical sage. Qin Haodong asked in surprise, do you know me? Hu Shaoxian put on her coat again and said, of course I know you. I'm here to find you. Qin Haodong asked, find me? What's the matter? Hu Shaoxian smiled slightly. She was full of charm, and her smile gave people a feeling of spring. Did you kill Feng Tianda? Qin Haodong didn't expect her to ask such a question. He said with a smile, Miss Hu, you can't talk nonsense. I'm a doctor. I can't save people. How can I do something like killing people? Well, it's my fault. Hu Shaoxian smiled again. Let me rephrase my question. The video of Feng Tianda's surrender, as well as the video of Fu Haiken and Bai Wenjie's confession in Wufeng County, all have something to do with you, right? Qin Haodong didn't know what this woman did, so he naturally wouldn't admit it. He said lightly, Miss Hu, I'm very grateful to you for saving my daughter, but these questions really make me feel inexplicable. Hu Shaoxian said to herself, the reason why Feng Tianda, Fu Haiken, and Bai Wenjie could voluntarily confess was not that they found their conscience, but that they were confused by a special method. Coincidentally, these people all have a grudge against you, and you are proficient in this method. You have helped the Jiangnan criminal police team to interrogate stubborn criminals several times. You can naturally get a conclusion by connecting these things. Am I right, Dr. Qin? Seeing that the other party had clearly investigated his affairs, it was obvious that she came with a purpose. He asked, tell me, what's your purpose? Don't worry, I mean you no harm. Hu Shaoxian said charmingly, you have reached the 9th level of overt power at a young age, and you have the ability to control people's minds. You are a rare talent, so I invite you to join our organization. Qin Haodong looked at Hu Shaoxian and said, if you want me to join you, you have to tell me what organization you are in advance, right? Hu Shaoxian's expression changed, and she said solemnly, have you heard of the Shenyuan Pavilion of Huaxia? No. Qin Haodong shook his head and said. He was just a doctor and didn't know much about this. If he knew that there was such a special department in Huaxia, he would not have used mind bewitching in such a high-profile way. At least he would not have posted the videos of these people's confessions on the internet. Hu Shaoxian said, the Shenyuan Pavilion is a special department in Huaxia. I come from the Shenyuan department of the Shenyuan Pavilion, and I want you to join the Shenyuan department. After a pause, she said, the Shenyuan department is responsible for managing all the people in the Shenyuan sect in Huaxia. They are prohibited from using the Shenyuan skill on ordinary people. You have used the Xianyuan skill to control the minds of ordinary people, which has violated the rules of the Xianyuan department. Fortunately, you have not done evil, so we are not going to hold you accountable. On the contrary, we invite you to join our Xianyuan department and serve Huaxiao. Qin Haodong said, "Thank you for your kindness, but I have a girlfriend and a daughter, and I am a doctor, so I don't want to join your department." Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong refused her. Hu Xiaoxian's expression changed and she said, "As a member of the Xianyuan sect, you should serve the country." "I'm sorry, I'm not a member of the Xianyuan sect as you said. I'm just an ordinary person, an ordinary doctor." "Well, since you said you are an ordinary person, let's do it according to the rules of ordinary people." Hu Xiaoxian said. Feng Tianda recorded a video of his confession before he disappeared. "He must have been controlled by you, and then he disappeared again. I guess he must have died in your hands. If I send you to court, I believe you know the consequences. Are you threatening me?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "The court needs evidence. Although you come from a special department, you can't convict me just because of your words." Hu Xiaoxian said, "Of course I know that, but if you can make Feng Tianda confess, I can make you confess. If you join our Xianyuan department, it's fine. If not, you will spend the rest of your life in prison." Qin Haodong said, "Well, I really want to see how you will make me confess. You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Do you think your magic is invincible? Today, I will let you know that there is always someone better than you." Hu Xiaoxian's expression changed and became extremely charming. She gently pulled down her coat, revealing her white shoulders and sexy collarbones. She said coquettishly, "Little handsome boy, what did you do to Feng Tianda? Can you tell me?" Chapter 179. Fox hypnosis was a unique secret method that Hu Xiaoxian's grandmother passed on to her. The effect of this kind of magic was not much different from Qin Haodong's mind manipulating. It was a kind of spiritual magic. Mind manipulating could not be used on people with strong spiritual power, otherwise they would be backfired. The same was true of Fox hypnosis, but the effect of backfiring was somewhat different. Once backfired, the caster would fall in love with the other party without hesitation. Because of this, Hu Xiaoxian's grandfather repeatedly warned her not to use this kind of magic easily. The reason why Hu Xiaoxian dared to use this kind of magic was that she had enough confidence. Since she was born, her spiritual power had been far superior to that of ordinary people. Although her cultivation had just broken through to the first level of covert power, her spiritual power was enough to match that of a strong man at the supreme power level. In order to make Fox hypnosis backfire, the spiritual power must be more than 10 times that of the caster. In Hu Xiaoxian's opinion, 10 times the spiritual power of a strong man at the supreme power level did not exist on the earth. Even if there was, it was extremely rare. It was impossible for her to meet such a person. The chance of winning the 5 million prize was many times smaller. In particular, Qin Haodong's cultivation had just reached the 9th level of overt power. Normally, his spiritual power was much weaker than that of a warrior at the covert power level. Therefore, in her opinion, her spiritual power would definitely crush Qin Haodong and make him obediently tell the evidence of his murder. Then she would use this evidence to threaten him to join the Xuanzi department. She didn't expect that Qin Haodong had the primordial spirit of a heavenly master in his mind. His spiritual power was more than 10,000 times stronger than that of a warrior at the supreme power level. Therefore, when Hu Xiaoxian's spiritual power attacked Qin Haodong's sea of consciousness, she immediately suffered an overwhelming counterattack. "Oh my God, I won the prize." This was the last trace of her consciousness. She only felt that her eyes were black, and then she lost consciousness and fell to the ground with a plop. Seeing Hu Xiaoxian fall to the ground, Qin Haodong hurriedly cried, "Hey, don't do this. How can you seduce me and blackmail me?" Anyway, she was his daughter's savior. Qin Haodong still helped her to the bed and then injected a green wood genuine qi into her. Very happily, Hu Shaoxian slowly opened her eyes. Seeing that she woke up, Qin Haodong quickly said, "Don't blackmail me. I didn't touch you. You fell by yourself." After that, his eyes met with Hu Shaoxian's. He couldn't help but feel surprised. Why did her eyes seem to be full of love? Hu Shaoxian had experienced the consequences of the spiritual backfire. At this moment, her heart was full of Qin Haodong, and there was no room for any impurities. She knew that she had completely fallen in love with the man in front of her. Although it was an accident, the person she chose was not bad. Falling in love with such a handsome guy was not a sad thing. "Haodong, I'm in love with you." Hu Shaoxian gazed at Qin Haodong and said. Qin Haodong originally wanted to reach out to feel Hu Shaoxian's pulse again. After hearing her words, he felt like he was struck by lightning and quickly stepped back. "I'm telling you, you can't fake this kind of thing. I already have a girlfriend. You've seen it too. I even have a daughter. You should just give up." Hu Shaoxian said, "It doesn't matter. I don't care what you have, as long as you are good to me." "Impossible. I have a girlfriend and a daughter. I don't have time to be nice to you." The debt of love with Qi Wan had not been solved. Qin Haodong did not dare to provoke another woman, even if Hu Shaoxian was beautiful. "I don't care. Anyway, I've fallen in love with you. I can't change it even if I want to." Hu Shaoxian was telling the truth, but it was not the case in Qin Haodong's ears. He said, "I've only known you for a few hours. How could you fall in love with me? Tell me honestly, what do you want? Haven't I already told you? I don't want anything else, as long as you are good to me." Hu Shaoxian said as she sat up from the bed. She checked her clothes and asked, "Did you do anything to me when I fainted?" "No, definitely not." Qin Haodong waved his hand again and again. "Then do you want to do something? It's not too late now." Hu Shaoxian first winked at Qin Haodong, then stood up and stretched, showing her perfect figure in front of him. "Yes. No, your injury has healed. You'd better go now." Looking at the beautiful and charming Hu Shaoxian, Qin Haodong felt that his heart was beating faster and faster. If it went on like this, he might not be able to hold on. "Go. Why should I go? You're my man. I'll follow you for the rest of my life. This is my home in the future." Hu Shaoxian said as she swayed her sexy body and stepped toward Qin Haodong. "I tell you, don't come over. I'll be rude to you." In the face of such a great beauty, Qin Haodong was a little flustered. "Well, I want to see how rude you are. Anyway, I'm yours. You can do whatever you want to me." Hu Shaoxian's voice seemed to be charming. She stretched out her two white and tender arms and hugged Qin Haodong's neck. She stared at him with her charming eyes. The deep love in her eyes made Qin Haodong's heart tremble. He really couldn't understand how such strong emotions could appear in such a seemingly incomparably coquettish woman. He didn't know that the Fox clan had been a mysterious and unique clan since ancient times. Each of the women of the Fox clan looked coquettish and infatuated. They would never fall in love with a second person in their life. Although Hu Shaoxian was not a member of the Fox clan, the celestial fox cultivation method she practiced was from the Fox clan, so she naturally had the characteristics of the Fox clan. "You. Let me go." At this moment, Qin Haodong seemed to have become a little sheep being stared at by a pervert. He hurriedly stretched out his hands to push Hu Shaoxian away. Unexpectedly, he suddenly pressed on the place where he shouldn't have pressed. The elastic and smooth feeling made him forget to take his hands back for a moment. Hu Shaoxian's body trembled slightly, but she did not dodge. Then she said coquettishly, "How about it? Little man, do you like it? If you don't like it with clothes on, I can take them off. Only then did Qin Haodong realize where his hands were pressed. He reluctantly took them back and said with embarrassment, I didn't mean it. Fool, I'll be yours sooner or later. What's the difference between intentional and unintentional? Hu Shaoxian said, putting her towering peaks on Qin Haodong's chest. They were so close that they could even clearly feel each other's breath on their faces. Qin Haodong hurriedly pushed her away, but this time he pressed his hands on his shoulders. Looking at his nervous look, Hu Shaoxian giggled and said, "Little man, you're so shy. Is it your first time?" "In fact, it's also my first time." Seeing that he was teased by a beautiful woman like this, Qin Haodong was full of grievances but had nowhere to vent. He couldn't push the woman in front of him down in a daze. Hu Shaoxian said, "Forget it. Look at your timid look. Tell me, which room will I stay in tonight?" "I'll stay in that room." Qin Haodong raised his hand subconsciously and then regretted it. The room he pointed to happened to be the one opposite his bedroom. Hu Shaoxian stepped over and reached out to gently support his cheek. Then she lifted his chin and said, "Little man, I won't close the door at night. If you regret it, you can come at any time." After that, she kissed Qin Haodong's cheek with her tender red lips, and then went back to the room while twisting her sexy body. Seeing Hu Shaoxian close the door, Qin Haodong sat on the sofa powerlessly. 3 words jumped out of his mind, "Vixen." After returning to the room, Hu Shaoxian took out her mobile phone and dialed a phone number. Soon an old voice came over the phone, "Girl, how's it going? Did you find that man?" "I found him, but there was a big accident." "What accident? Is that man a hidden master?" "No." Hu Shaoxian said in a low voice, "Grandpa, I used fox hypnosis on him, and, you little girl, didn't I tell you not to use it indiscriminately? Why didn't you listen to Grandpa? What was the result?" The old man asked eagerly. "The result was that his mental strength was extremely strong, and I was backfired." "What? You were backfired? Is there really someone who is 10 times stronger than your mental strength? How is that possible?" On the other side of the phone, the old man jumped up. After stabilizing his mood, he cried, "Girl, how do you feel now? Do you really fall in love with that old guy?" Hu Shaoxian said, "The backfire of fox hypnosis is extremely strong. I can't extricate myself now. I'm going to find your grandma now. Why did she pass on fox hypnosis to you? Now it's troublesome." Hu Shaoxian quickly said, "Grandpa, it's not Grandma's business, and now it has happened. It's useless for you to find Grandma." "Alas." The old man let out a long sigh and asked, "Tell me, is that old monster more than 100 years old? Should I call him brother or uncle when I see him?" "Grandpa, I'm actually teasing you." Hu Shaoxian giggled when she said that. "You little girl, how dare you make such a joke with Grandpa? I'll punish you for 3 years of confinement." The old man on the other side of the phone was angry and amused, but he also put down a big stone in his heart. If his baby granddaughter really fell in love with a bad old man, it would be terrible. "Lass, what you said just now, which one is true and which one is false?" Hu Shaoxian said with a smile, "In fact, it's all true, but I pretended to be unhappy. I did use fox hypnosis, and I did get backfired, but the other party is a handsome man in his 20s, not the kind of old man you think. Grandpa, I'm lucky, right? Are you happy for me?" The old man sighed and said in a sad voice, "Girl, since it's already like this, there's no need to lie to Grandpa. Don't worry, no matter how old and ugly he is, Grandpa can hold on. Grandpa, why don't you believe it? The other party is really a handsome man in his 20s. The old man cried, "I'll be a ghost if I believe you. Do you think your grandpa is really stupid? How can a young man in his 20s have such a strong spiritual force?" It was no wonder that the old man didn't believe it. In his opinion, those who could have spiritual force 10 times stronger than that of the Supreme Power Master were all old monsters without exception. Believe it or not, anyway, he is a handsome man, 10 times more handsome than you when you were young. Hu Shaoxian said with a smile, that's it. I'm going to take a bath first, and then I'll go and flirt with the handsome man. She hung up the phone, but the old man couldn't sleep. He talked with his granddaughter all night, but he didn't know which sentence was true and which was false. Qin Haodong had just been flirted with by Hu Shaoxian, and his whole body seemed to be on fire, especially the second leader. He was almost out of control. He rushed into the bathroom, turned on the shower head, and poured cold water from head to toe. Then he felt a little better. Chapter 180. Qin Haodong wiped off the soap on his face and saw Hu Shaoxian standing at the door in a charming way. In such a moment, Qin Haodong, who had just been extinguished by the cold water, regained his fighting spirit. Qin Haodong quickly grabbed a small basin next to him to protect his key parts and cried, "Why are you here?" Hu Shaoxian said, "This is the bathroom." "Of course I'm here to take a bath." Qin Haodong cried, "No, there is a bathroom downstairs. Go downstairs if you want to take a bath. Close the door quickly. It's quite big. Why are you so timid?" Hu Shaoxian left the bathroom with a smile and turned to go downstairs. Qin Haodong quickly closed the bathroom door and threw away the small basin in his hand. He suddenly had a strange feeling in his heart. As a man, how could he be forced like this by a woman? After taking a shower, he hurriedly returned to his room and closed the door. He even locked it for the first time in his life. Qin Haodong was tortured by Hu Shaoxian. Who knew if this girl would touch his bed in the middle of the night? With her great charm, he might really have sex with her. Fortunately, the night was safe. When Qin Haodong got up the next day, Hu Shaoxian also got up early and was doing morning exercises in the yard. Compared with others, her way of morning exercises was very special. She was not boxing, not running, but dancing. It had to be said that Hu Shaoxian's dance was really good. Her face was off the charts, her figure was curvy, and her dancing posture was moving. In the early morning sunshine, she brought people infinite beauty and temptation, which made Qin Haodong stunned for a while. 5 minutes later, the song ended and Hu Shaoxian finished dancing. She turned to Qin Haodong and smiled charmingly, "How was it? Did I dance well?" "Yes." Qin Haodong couldn't help but say. He had never seen such a moving dance. After that, he felt a little inappropriate and said, "When are you leaving?" Hu Shaoxian said, "Why should I leave? I said that you are my man. I will be wherever you are in this life. I won't leave if you don't leave." "You." Qin Haodong didn't expect to be pestered by this woman. He said angrily, "If you don't leave, I'll call the police." Hu Shaoxian didn't get angry. Instead, she giggled and came over to hold Qin Haodong's arm. "Well, if you want to call the police, I'll say that you molested me. Let's see who the police believe. You. If you do this again, I won't be polite anymore. Alright, you want to chase me away. You have to be able to beat me first." The more Hu Shaoxian said, the tighter she held Qin Haodong's arm. Her breasts were pressed tightly against his arm. Qin Haodong blushed and was speechless. His cultivation had just reached the 9th level of overt power, while Hu Shaoxian was a real master of covert power. Faced with this kind of female tenant who he could not chase away, nor could he beat, and who was ready to be taken by him at any time, there was really nothing he could do. "If you don't want to leave, then stay here. I'll leave." After that, Qin Haodong left his home angrily and walked to the Lin's villa. Hu Shaoxian laughed behind him and said, "Little man, remember to come back early at night. I'll wait for you after taking a bath at home." Qin Haodong slipped and almost fell to the ground, which made Hu Shaoxian laugh again. When he came to the bedroom, the little fellow was still lying on the bed and sleeping. Lin Momo was next to her. Seeing Qin Haodong coming in, she asked worriedly, "She hasn't woken up yet. Is there anything wrong? My daughter is sleeping so soundly. What can happen to her? Don't think too much." Qin Haodong said as he put his hand on the little fellow's pulse and began to feel her pulse. After what happened last night, he found that there had been great changes in the little fellow's body. Emperor Yan's Heart Sutra had completely stabilized at the first level, and all the fire in the body had been absorbed and transformed into genuine qi. In terms of the purity and quantity of genuine qi alone, the little fellow's cultivation was comparable to that of a warrior at the third level of overt power. This kind of cultivation speed was absolutely against the natural order. On the one hand, it was because of the awakening of the Suzaku sacred body. On the other hand, what happened last night had stimulated her too much and stimulated the potential of the little fellow. From this point of view, it was a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, it would take at least half a year for her to reach the current realm. The biggest advantage of this kind of advancement was that the little fellow could control the fire in the body. She didn't have to worry about casually causing a fire. As long as she didn't take the initiative to attack people with fire, the secret of her spitting fire would not be discovered. In fact, spitting fire was the most primitive instinct to attack with fire. It would be better if there was a set of fire system cultivation method to control fire. Qin Haodong's only fire system cultivation method, Emperor Yan's Heart Sutra, was only a cultivation method. It could not control fire to attack. While he was thinking, Lin Momo asked worriedly, "Haodong, how is Tang Tang?" Qin Haodong said, "She's fine. She's fine. She'll wake up soon." While speaking, the little fellow suddenly opened her eyes and cried in horror, "Bad guy, let go of my papa." Her memory still stayed at the moment and Dao Tong attacked Qin Haodong last night. Qin Haodong was moved. Having such a daughter made him feel very warm. He said, "Don't be afraid, Papa is here." The little fellow saw Qin Haodong and Lin Momo in front of her, and the look of horror on her face slowly faded. She grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and asked, "Papa, where's the bad guy?" Qin Haodong patted her chubby little face and said, "The bad guy has been beaten away by Tang Tang." "Really? Then I'll protect Papa from now on. If I meet a bad guy, I'll burn him with fire." As the little fellow said, she spat out a small flame in the air. Qin Haodong hurriedly said, "Tang Tang, you can't spit fire without Papa's permission." "Why? I want to beat the bad guy." The little fellow asked with a puzzled face. "I'm still young. Sometimes I may not be able to tell who is good and who is bad. It would be bad if you burn the good guy. In addition, your ability to spit fire is very special. Other children don't have it at all. What if they know you can spit fire and treat you as a little monster? There will be no children to play with you, and you will become a child without friends." The little fellow quickly covered her mouth with her chubby little hand and said with a silly face, "I don't want to be a little monster. I want to have good friends." Qin Haodong was afraid that the little fellow would spit fire everywhere and cause unnecessary trouble. He continued, "That's right. Don't let others know that you have this ability. Otherwise, if you are caught by the bad guy, you will be in trouble. Then you will never see Papa and Mama again." "No, no, I don't want to leave Papa and Mama." The little fellow said with a serious face, "I'll only spit fire when Papa asks me to." After listening to the little fellow's words, Qin Haodong's heart moved. Through the battle with Dao Tong last night, he realized that there were still many masters in the world. To better protect Lin Momo and the little fellow, he had to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. Due to the particularity of his cultivation method, he could not break through the bottleneck of the foundation realm without sufficient spiritual qi. In this case, he had to think of other ways, such as improving the cultivation of qi wan, ma wenjua and others through elixirs. The improvement of their cultivation was equivalent to the improvement of his own strength. But his current cultivation was still unable to refine elixirs suitable for masters of internal strength. But with the congenital fire of the little fellow, it was completely different. As long as he found a suitable alchemy furnace, with the congenital fire and his superb alchemy skills, he could refine higher-level elixirs. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong was excited. The urgent task was to find a good alchemy furnace that could withstand the congenital fire. Ordinary alchemy furnaces would explode before the elixirs were refined. Where could he find a suitable alchemy furnace? He thought about it and suddenly remembered Fatty Wang, whom he had met in the antique street last time. The mirror of yin yang in his hand was from them. Maybe they had other good things. After all, these antique dealers usually hid good things and did not put them in their shops. After making up his mind, Qin Haodong sent the little fellow to kindergarten after breakfast and drove straight to the antique street. After getting out of the car, he went directly to Fatty Wang's shop and was surprised to find that it was closed and not open. He walked around the street again and did not find the fake old Taoist and other blackmailers, which made him very strange. Fatty Wang and others should not have washed their hands so soon. He went to the shop next to Fatty Wang's. The owner was a middle-aged man in his 40s. Qin Haodong asked, "Brother, let me ask around. It's almost noon. Why hasn't the fat boss next door come yet?" The middle-aged man said, "He can't come." "What's wrong? What happened?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. "Fatty Wang is crazy." "Crazy? He was fine some time ago. Why did he suddenly go crazy?" The middle-aged man said, "I don't know the specific reason. Anyway, he is crazy now. I went to see him a few days ago. I have been neighbors with Fatty Wang for more than 10 years, but he didn't know me at all. He was crazy and kept talking nonsense. I couldn't understand him at all." Qin Haodong asked, "Brother, can you learn what he said from me? I didn't pay much attention to it. It seemed that he was shouting something like Zhang Dahu's life, shouting revenge and so on. Sometimes he even shouted that I would fight with you. Big brother, can you tell me where Fatty Wang lives? I want to go and see him." The middle-aged man said, "I can tell you, but you have to be careful. Now Fatty Wang is very sick. When he goes crazy, he even beats his mother. Don't worry, brother. I'll pay attention." Qin Haodong got the address from the middle-aged man. It was not too far from the antique street. About 10 minutes later, he arrived at Fatty Wang's house. It was a spacious yard. There was a 3-story building in the yard. It was completely built according to the European style. It was very beautiful. It seemed that Fatty Wang had made a lot of money these years. Qin Haodong came to the big iron gate and knocked several times. The gate opened and a middle-aged woman in her 30s came out. The woman was a little fat. Her face was black and blue. It seemed that she had been beaten. "Who are you looking for?" the woman asked. "I'm looking for Fatty Wang. I'm his friend." Qin Haodong said. "He is crazy now. Why are you looking for him? Go back quickly." The woman was about to close the door. Qin Haodong said quickly, "Don't worry. I'm a doctor. I heard that Brother Wang is sick, so I came to see him." Chapter 181. Send him to a mental hospital. Qin Haodong said, "Madam, you have to think about it. If you really send him to a mental hospital, his life will be over." The woman sighed and said, "Look at the wounds on my body. They are all from him. He beats everyone when he is crazy. My mother and my son have also been hurt. If I had any other way, I would not send him to a mental hospital. After all, we have been husband and wife for more than 10 years, and it will cost a lot of money to go to a mental hospital. He used to be the backbone of our family. He has been living a better life these years, but he suddenly got sick. I don't know what he did in his last life. Qin Haodong said, Madam, let me see him. If I can't cure him, you can send him to a mental hospital. Well. The woman looked at Qin Haodong suspiciously. He was so young and did not look like a doctor. Qin Haodong also understood what she was thinking and said, Don't worry, madam. My treatment is free. I don't need a penny whether I cure him or not. If you can cure him, you can save a lot of medical expenses. Are you sure you don't need money? The woman asked. Yes, I don't need a penny. Although Qin Haodong was not related to Fatty Wang, he did not hate him too much. Now he was eager to cure Fatty Wang and find out the source of the yin-yang mirror. Well, come with me. The woman opened the door and let Qin Haodong into the yard. After entering the door, Qin Haodong heard a violent cry. Zhang Dahu, you killed my parents, my son, and my man. I will kill you today. Then, there was a series of crashing sounds. It seemed like someone was smashing something. The woman said with a sad face, Little brother, he is going crazy again. After that, she took Qin Haodong to the front of the room, but she did not open the door. Instead, she took Qin Haodong to see through the window. The whole window glass had been smashed into pieces. Fortunately, the window was equipped with a protective fence, so the person inside could not get out. Qin Haodong looked through the protective fence and saw a man with a dirty face. He was waving a kitchen knife that had been sharpened. He was madly venting his anger everywhere. Apart from the various decorations in the room, even the furniture had been smashed into pieces. The man was the crazy Fatty Wang, but compared to 10 days ago, he had lost a lot of weight. If one didn't look carefully, one wouldn't be able to tell. After seeing Fatty Wang, Qin Haodong frowned slightly. He saw that Fatty Wang's whole body was covered by a layer of faint black qi, which was a typical symptom of being possessed by a ghost. He had long suspected that Fatty Wang was not really mentally ill, but was contaminated by something unclean. It seemed that it was true. After confirming his thoughts, he turned to the woman and said, Sister-in-law, can you tell me how he went crazy? The more detailed, the better. The woman thought for a moment and said, 10 days ago, he collected a batch of antiques from somewhere. When he was sorting them out, my son was naughty and accidentally broke a porcelain guanyin statue. Then he suddenly went crazy and smashed all the antiques he collected. That's how he is now. After that, the woman asked, Little brother, can you cure this disease? He is not mentally ill at all. He is possessed by an evil spirit. In the old saying, it's called being possessed by a ghost. Qin Haodong said. What? Possessed by an evil spirit? How is that possible? The woman cried in surprise. Some magicians and Taoists often use bodhisattva statues and guanyu statues to suppress some ghosts that can't be subdued. If I'm not wrong, there is a very powerful ghost suppressed in that guanyin statue, and your son happened to break it. After the ghost was released, it was possessed by Fatty Wang. It seems so. The woman became more frightened and said to Qin Haodong, Little brother, please, as long as you can take that ghost away, you can ask for as much money as you want. I've said that it's free. Qin Haodong said, Sister-in-law, don't worry. I will cure him soon. The woman cried, Little brother, thank you. Thank you so much. As long as you can cure Fatty Wang's disease, you will be the benefactor of our family. Qin Haodong nodded. When he was about to go in to treat Fatty Wang, there was a shrill siren at the door. A medical van with a red cross on it drove into the yard. After the van stopped, a middle-aged male doctor in his 40s got out of the van, followed by 2 nurses wearing big masks. Each of them held a foot-long electric baton in their hands. Police. Baton. Hearing Fatty Wang's constant roar, the 3 of them immediately came over. The middle-aged doctor glanced at Fatty Wang, who was locked up in the room, and turned back to the two young nurses and said, "This is a typical symptom of a psychotic frenzy. Be careful when you fight later. Don't be soft, or you will hurt yourself." After that, he turned to Qin Haodong and the nurse and asked, "I'm Ma Guoli, the chief physician of Jiangnan City Mental Hospital. Are you the patient's family?" The woman said, "I'm his wife," but Ma Guoli interrupted her and said, "No buts. The patient's condition is very serious. Open the door quickly, and we will take him to the mental hospital immediately." After that, he turned on the baton in his hand. "Police!" The baton crackled, and the electricity crackled. "Police!" The baton released a foot-long blue electric arc. The woman asked in surprise, "Dr. Ma, what are you doing? Are you going to use this to shock my husband?" Ma Guoli said, "Of course. Look at his current symptoms of mania. If we don't subdue him, how can we take him away?" "No, that's not possible." The woman was obviously frightened by the electric baton in Ma Guoli's hand. She quickly said, "Dr. Ma, if you do this, we won't treat him." Ma Guoli immediately frowned and said discontentedly, "Why are you so insensible as the patient's family? He is now a violent mental patient. How can he be cured if we don't treat him? Besides, you called us to come. Now that we are here, you say you won't treat him. Do you think we doctors are very free?" After that, he turned back to the two nurses and said, "Open the door and take the patient away." The two nurses answered and were about to enter the door with the electric baton in their hands. The woman quickly cried, "No, you can't take my husband away like this." Ma Guoli pushed the woman away and said, "Get out of the way. Don't delay our treatment of the patient." How could the woman stop the strong Ma Guoli? She was pushed aside at once. Just as they were about to enter the door, they heard someone next to them shouting, "Stop." Qin Haodong couldn't stand it anymore. He stepped forward and said, "How can you be a doctor? First, your judgment of the patient's condition is inaccurate. He is not mentally ill at all. Second, even if he is mentally ill, you have to listen to the family's opinion on whether to treat him or not. His family has said that they won't treat him. Are you going to take him away?" Ma Guoli looked back at Qin Haodong and said with disdain, "Who are you? Do I need you to teach me how to be a doctor?" Qin Haodong said, "I am also a doctor, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner." "A traditional Chinese medicine practitioner?" "A traditional Chinese medicine practitioner is also a doctor. It's just some tricks to deceive people. How dare you talk nonsense in front of me?" Ma Guoqiang said with disdain, "Now the patient's condition is very clear. He has typical symptoms of violent mental illness. For the sake of social stability, we must take him back for treatment." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "For the sake of social stability? What a big hat. I think it's for the commission of treating patients." Ma Guoli's expression froze when he was exposed. Then he shouted, "It's none of your business. You are a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Can you treat mental illness? I have already said that this is not a mental illness, and I can also treat it." Ma Guoli laughed exaggeratedly and said, "Now you say this is not a mental illness. Are you saying that he is bewitched?" Qin Haodong nodded and said, "You are right. He is indeed bewitched." Ma Guoli didn't expect Qin Haodong to say that. He was slightly stunned and said, "It is said that traditional Chinese medicine is a feudal superstition. Now it seems that it is true." Then he turned back to the woman and said, "I am the attending doctor of the mental hospital. Do you believe him or me?" He originally thought that Fatty Wang's wife would choose to believe him, but the woman said without hesitation, "I believe this little brother." The reason why the woman made such a simple choice was that Qin Haodong's symptoms were exactly the same as Fatty Wang's. Secondly, she was really frightened by the electric baton in Ma Guoli's hand. Stupid. How stupid. You would rather believe a little liar than a regular doctor. Ma Guoli glared at the woman and then said, it's okay if you don't believe me. Pay the consultation fee and we will leave immediately. He turned back to a nurse and said, Xiao Zhao, calculate the consultation fee for her. The nurse said, it's 1,680 yuan in total. The woman was shocked and cried, why is it so much money? And the consultation fee? We didn't use you to treat us. It's your business whether you need to see a doctor or not. Anyway, we are already here. Because your family has occupied the hospital's medical resources, it is natural to pay the fee. Pay up quickly. Qin Haodong frowned and said, are you crazy about money? You want to charge her 1,680 yuan without moving a finger? Ma Guoli looked back at him and said, you are a little liar. What do you know? This is the hospital's normal fee. Qin Haodong said coldly, who are you calling a liar? I'm talking about you. Ma Guoli said arrogantly, you said he is not mentally ill and possessed. What are you if you are not a liar? Cure him if you have the ability. I don't want a penny of the money. Did you say that? Of course I said it. I always keep my word. Even my spit is a nail. Well, let's make a bet. Qin Haodong waved his hand and took out 2 stacks of unopened Wuxia currency. He said, I have 20,000 yuan here. If I can't cure the patient in 10 minutes, the money is yours. If I can cure him, you take out an extra 20,000 yuan as the nutrition fee for the patient. How about it? Do you dare to make a bet? Are you sure you are not joking? Ma Guoli asked in disbelief. In his opinion, Qin Haodong was simply giving him money. Even the best psychiatrist in the world could not cure a violent mental patient in just 10 minutes. Qin Haodong said, of course it's true. As long as you agree, we can sign a bet immediately. Okay, I'll bet with you. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.